The bitter taste of the revitalizing pill was already on his tongue, a choice made before the shock could settle in his chest. Now he stands above it all, a silent coronation of power he never wanted. Walk this path with us. Like the video and subscribe, for to understand the weight of the crown, you must enter the inner circle. He immediately took out a revitalizing pill and fed it to her. Before long, the barely breathing woman regained her vitality. However, the pain from her wounds made her gasp continuously. "Senior Sister Wu, I saved your life. Surely you wouldn't refuse to repay me." Jiang Fan squatted beside her, asking with a sly smile. Wu Manyu felt like she wanted to beat Jiang Fan to death. He almost crushed her into a meat pie, and he had the nerve to ask for repayment. But her entire body was severely injured. She couldn't even move a finger. She bit her silver tooth and said, "Repay? Repay with what? Should I spend the night with you? If you dare, I wouldn't mind it." Heh! Jiang Fan wouldn't dare touch such a venomous beauty. Who knows, she might do something shady to him. Even if he survived, he might lose something very precious to a man. No need, no need. Why would I make things difficult for my senior sister? Jiang Fan took out 3 small black flags and said, "I just want to know the method of manipulating these 3 black flags. If you tell me, I'll let you go today. Additionally, I'll give you 10 demon cores to show my sincerity." The first 2 sentences already made Wu Manyu's blood pressure surge. Asking for a core technique, and he calls it not making things difficult, upon hearing the last sentence. Her lungs nearly exploded with rage. She laughed angrily and said, "Your sincerity is indeed overwhelming. I'm truly moved. 10 demon cores in exchange for a core technique. Even if you sent off a beggar, it wouldn't be like this, right?" Jiang Fan laughed awkwardly. "We can negotiate the terms. If you think it's too little, then I'll add 1 more. Wu Manyu held her stomach with both hands, showing a look of pain. It wasn't from the wounds, it was from a stomach ache. She was that angry. "You!" Wu Manyu bit her silver tooth. "Don't even think about it." But then she reconsidered. Jiang Fan wanted the manipulation method so badly. Then let him have it. She would pass him a fake one and make a fool out of him. She immediately pretended to negotiate. "Today, being captured by you, I admit defeat. But if you want my puppet manipulation technique, you need to show sincerity. Give me 50 demon cores?" 50. Even Liang Feiyan couldn't take it anymore and shouted, "Have you figured out your situation yet? Considering sparing your life is already something junior brother Jiang is kind enough to do. How dare you make such outrageous demands?" Jiang Fan had only harvested just over 60 demon cores in the sky-breaking canyon. This woman asked for 50 in one breath. How outrageous. "I'll think about it." Jiang Fan's eyes flickered. Then he quietly activated the ancient heart mirror, using it to shine on Wu Manyu. What she was thinking immediately entered his mind. "HMPH, want to learn my core technique? Even with 50 demon cores, I wouldn't teach him. Besides, so what if I taught him the technique? Could he even learn it?" As she was thinking this, Jiang Fan seemed to make a difficult decision, gritting his teeth and said, "All right, 50 demon cores it is. However, you need to teach me first so I can verify its authenticity." Wu Manyu coldly sneered, "Idiot. You fell for it. I don't care about your 50 demon cores. I just want to see you make a fool of yourself." She then said, "Bring paper and pen and I'll teach you the technique." Jiang Fan quickly fetched her paper and pen. Wu Manyu took up the pen and began to write, thinking, "Change this part to this. This part is crucial, change it. And here, all the important points, change them all." Jiang Fan listened to her thoughts and couldn't help but smile inwardly. As she was thinking about where to falsify, her mind went through the genuine content, imprinting it all in Jiang Fan's mind. Shortly thereafter, Wu Manyu said, "Done. Take it." She handed the written technique to Jiang Fan. Internally, she sneered, "If you forcefully practice this, your meridians will reverse and you'll spit blood on the spot." She was very pleased with her masterpiece. Jiang Fan nodded, taking the technique, and said, "Senior Sister Wu is indeed straightforward. Let me first give it a try." Wu Manyu's eyes were full of cunning. "Feel free to practice. I, Wu Manyu, still have that much credibility." Seeing that Jiang Fan was really going to practice it, Xia Caoj and the others couldn't stay calm. "Uncle, are you really going to practice it? Isn't that too reckless?" She was a bit puzzled. Normally, her uncle was very cautious. How could he be so rash as to practice a technique provided by Wu Manyu? Liang Feiyan also advised, "Junior brother Jiang, think it through. This woman's offer is not to be trusted lightly." Zai Liushu's mouth twitched. "You just told me to be cautious. And now you're jumping straight in." Fu Keohun was also speechless. "This woman doesn't look like someone easy to deal with. Would you really dare to practice the technique she gave?" But Jiang Fan seemed not to hear them. He sat cross-legged and immediately began to practice silently. An hour passed. Wu Manyu had mostly recovered and couldn't help but marvel at the miraculous nature of the healing pills. However, she wouldn't forgive Jiang Fan because of this. What puzzled her was, after practicing for an hour, Jiang Fan should have had his meridians out of order by now, spitting blood non-stop, right? Why did he still look fine at this moment? Jiang Fan slowly opened his eyes, showing a satisfied expression. Wu Manyu was taken aback. "You finished practicing?" Jiang Fan nodded. "Thank you, Senior Sister Wu, for providing the technique. I have mostly mastered it. I should have no problem controlling the 3 array flags." Wu Manyu didn't believe it at all. The technique she gave was fake. It didn't contain any key content. Unless Jiang Fan didn't practice it. If he did, there would definitely be problems. Realizing this, she slyly said, "Is that so? Then, junior brother Jiang, why not demonstrate it? Let your senior brothers and sisters see how you quickly mastered controlling the array flags." Xianxia looked at Wu Manyu's expression and knew there must be a problem with the technique. Most likely Jiang Fan didn't practice it, so she tried to find an excuse for him. "Uncle, there's no need to demonstrate. With your talent, we all believe you've mastered it." Liang Feiyan and the others understood one after another. They all found excuses for Jiang Fan. Wu Manyu wouldn't miss the chance to make Jiang Fan lose face. "Since you all believe it, why not demonstrate it?" She looked at Jiang Fan with a smile that wasn't a smile. "Could it be that you haven't mastered such a simple puppet technique?" "No way. I wrote the key points of the technique clearly. Even an idiot should be able to practice it." "Surely you haven't failed to learn it?" Jiang Fan rubbed his chin. His initial intention in seizing the 3 array flags wasn't out of greed for Wu Manyu's technique. Rather, what's safer than having puppets explore the way? He only needed to control the puppets from afar to approach the dead corpse army. If real danger arose, he could let the puppets cover the retreat while he escaped first. As for the puppets being damaged, they weren't his puppets anyway. He didn't feel bad, having just finished practicing. He did need to try and see if the puppets could be as well controlled as expected. "All right, let me try," he readily agreed. This actually made Wu Manyu unsure. Was he really that confident? Could he have truly learned it? But how could that be? The technique she gave was fake. Since we're all foxes, let's not talk about ghost stories. Chapter 477. Chapter 477. Since we're all foxes, let's not talk about ghost stories. With this in mind, Wu Manyu slightly lowered her guard. With a hint of a mocking smile at the corner of her mouth, she crossed her arms over her chest and eagerly watched Jiang Fan make a fool of himself. Jiang Fan held 3 small black flags in one hand. Simultaneously, he secretly performed a cultivation technique. After reciting an obscure spell, he tapped each of the 3 black flags with his fingertips. "Jump!" An astonishing scene that made Wu Manyu's expression freeze occurred. The 3 motionless puppets at the 5th layer of the core formation realm simultaneously jumped on the spot. "Lie down!" Upon landing, the 3 puppets immediately fell prone on the snow, remaining motionless despite the biting cold of the ground. "Fight each other!" Bang, crash. The 3 puppets immediately began to fight each other without hesitation, exerting their full strength, unafraid of pain or death, fighting as if their lives depended on it. "Stop! Walk forward!" The 3 puppets, now covered in battle scars, stopped fighting and walked straight in different directions. They each walked about 5 miles before stopping and standing still. Jiang Fan nodded slightly. The range of control for the black flags is around 5 miles. Beyond this range, the puppets will no longer obey orders. Facing a deadly army, 5 miles couldn't be considered very safe. But it was much safer than facing them alone. Plus, with the turtle breath cloak, the problem wasn't significant. You mastered it." Wu Manyu's alluring red lips parted slightly. Her crystal-clear eyes were filled with shock. Her mind was blank. She had clearly handed over fake techniques, so how could Jiang Fan have succeeded? It shouldn't be possible. Jiang Fan laughed faintly. "I have to thank Senior Sister Wu for writing the key points of the cultivation technique so thoroughly. Otherwise, how could I have possibly mastered it?" Liang Feiyan was dumbfounded. "No way, she actually wrote a cultivation technique for junior brother Jiang." Zai Liushu touched his nose. "Junior brother Jiang is really that charming, huh? This woman clearly isn't easy to deal with, yet she obediently wrote the technique." Xianxia was also filled with surprise. After pondering for a moment, as if understanding something, she sighed softly. "Truly a man of the flower fields." She was genuinely convinced. Other women throwing themselves at Jiang Fan she could understand. But Wu Manyu, who had just been a mortal enemy moments ago, had now handed over such a crucial cultivation technique. Utterly absurd. Perhaps only women of the demon race might be beyond Jiang Fan's grasp, she sighed quietly. As for Wu Manyu, she was utterly confused. When had she written such detailed key points? You and the senior brothers continue to guard Boundary Mountain. I'll make a trip to the demon race territory. Saying this, he waved the 3 black flags, and the 3 puppets gathered around Jiang Fan. Wu Manyu panicked immediately. What are you taking my puppets for? Your puppets. Jiang Fan shook his head and corrected her. Since Senior Sister Wu passed the puppetry technique to me, it means you acknowledged me as the owner of the black flags. From now on, the black flags and puppets are mine. Please mind your words, Senior Sister Wu. Wu Manyu's teeth ground noisily. Her clenched teeth were almost grinding to pieces. Suddenly, her charming eyes rolled and she smiled sweetly. You reminded me. Since I passed the puppetry technique to you, shouldn't you honor our agreement and return the 50 demon cores to me? Though in her perspective, the 50 demon cores were far less valuable compared to her inherited techniques. Exchanging them for a nascent soul strike jade talisman would make up for most of the loss. Jiang Fan nodded. Of course I will honor the agreement. Rest assured. Although he said this, there was no movement from his hand at all. Wu Manyu frowned. What do you mean? Are you cheating? Jiang Fan shrugged. I never said I'd give them to you now. Giving them to you later also keeps the agreement. Later? When exactly? When the merit-reward mission ends. Or when the war between the human clan and the demon race settles. Or until she's old and about to die? You liar! Wu Manyu's eyes blazed with fury. She clenched her fists, ready to charge at Jiang Fan in a desperate fight. Thinking it over, she held back. A mature and elegant woman should always control her emotions. Of course, the main reason was she couldn't beat Jiang Fan. Grinding her silver teeth, she glared fiercely at Jiang Fan. If there's nothing else, I'll be on my way. Jiang Fan waved his hand. Wu Manyu watched as her 3 precious puppets followed Jiang Fan away, her eyes filled with pain. When she initially acquired that legacy, she only got 5 black flags in total. She used 4. One controlled the patterned python Jiang Fan killed, and the black flag was destroyed. The remaining 3 were now taken by Jiang Fan. This little rascal, could he be my nemesis? No way, I can't let it slide. Her charming eyes rolled, lifting her wine-red gauzy dress, her seductive figure quickly catching up. With a charming and affectionate smile, she said, Senior Sister will accompany you? Heh, even a fool could tell this woman had no good intentions. No need, this trip is dangerous, you better not follow. Jiang Fan seriously warned. Would Wu Manyu believe that? Many Tianji Pavilion disciples went to the demon race territory. If there was danger, they would have returned long ago. Junior brother Jiang, I entrusted my life and heritage technique to you. Are you going to abandon me after all that? She said painfully, looking pitiful. Her small hands crossed on her chest, uncertain where to place them. She followed Jiang Fan closely, maintaining a moderate distance, as if afraid of losing him if too far or provoking his displeasure if too close. Jiang Fan had some admiration for her. Anyone ignorant might think he really did something to this woman. He reminded her again, I kindly warn you, true danger lies ahead. If you're not afraid, then come along. When danger strikes, don't blame me. Considering Wu Manyu provided the puppets, Jiang Fan warned again. If this woman insisted on following, he could do nothing about it. He. Wu Manyu turned her frown upside down, quickly caught up, and affectionately took Jiang Fan's arm. Her full figure pressed against him, she laughed with tears. I knew junior brother wouldn't abandon me. This scene made several men grit their teeth. Liang Feiyan's eyes widened. All right, dog food, huh? Let's go. See what other demon beast couples are causing trouble on Boundary Mountain. I'll break up every pair and every group I see. Xianxia gave Jiang Fan a wistful look. Pouting slightly, knowing she's a bad woman, yet you still bring her along. Hope you don't come back crying, crossing Boundary Mountain. Jiang Fan used his movement technique, skirting along the snowfield, moving across the snow without leaving a trace. He turned back to glance at Wu Manyu behind him. Each step she took plunged her into snow deeper than her height, only her head sticking out. After much effort to jump out, a step forward and she'd sink into the snow again, repetitively. She was both frustrated and anxious. Without a spirit beast, traversing here was sheer torture. Noticing Jiang Fan watching her, she blushed. What are you looking at? Aren't you going to give me a hand? Thinking Jiang Fan might finally dissuade her from following, unexpectedly. After a brief thought, Jiang Fan did return, lightly stepping to her side and pulled her out of the snow. Then, holding her by the waist, he sped across the snowfield. If they encountered a formidable enemy later. Someone like Wu Manyu, leaving many traces in the snow, was an ideal decoy. Jiang Fan could then leave without a trace, silently disappearing. As for her safety, Jiang Fan didn't believe that someone as cunning as Wu Manyu wouldn't have life-saving means. In fact, Jiang Fan was sure she was feigning her struggle to keep up, to make him lower his guard. If real danger arose, this woman would likely run faster than him. "What schemes are you brewing?" Suddenly, Wu Manyu's eyes glimmered as she scrutinized Jiang Fan's gaze, doubt flickering in her eyes. Although she didn't interact much with him, Wu Manyu had already experienced Jiang Fan's shrewdness. Kindly leading a burden in the land of demons didn't seem like something Jiang Fan would do. Jiang Fan cast a friendly smile. "Senior Sister Wu, you're overthinking. Since I agreed to accompany you, of course I'll protect you. I have no other intent, HMPH. All cultivators who have practiced for thousands of years are like clever foxes. Who are you trying to fool?" Wu Manyu stared at him intently and said, "Can you tell me how you learned my puppetry technique?" This matter, she cared deeply about it. Very, very deeply. Up until now, she couldn't figure it out. A fake cultivation technique, why could Jiang Fan actually cultivate it successfully? It was too unreasonable. Jiang Fan still wore a gentle smile, like a boy of his age, sunny and innocent. "Didn't I just say that? Because senior sister wrote it in detail, junior brother could succeed." Wu Manyu bit her silver teeth. That cultivation technique, does Jiang Fan really have no idea what it was? Still pretending, she was now completely sure of her suspicion. This boy was very smooth. Trying to get his secrets out so directly was wishful thinking. However, she insisted on following Jiang Fan, not without a purpose. HMPH. "Brat, luckily I kept a trump card. You can control the black flag, but there's my essence blood in the black flag. I'm the real master. If we control it together, the black flag will only listen to my command, not yours. When the time is right, I'll let you taste the pain of a puppet backstabbing you." Wu Manyu coldly laughed in her heart. Her things were not so easily taken. When some danger appeared later, and Jiang Fan needed the help of the puppets, she would suddenly command the puppets to backstab Jiang Fan. By then, Jiang Fan, being attacked from both sides, would surely be angered to the point of coughing blood, right? Thinking about that scene, she trembled with excitement. "Epilepsy attack!" Jiang Fan glanced at her. Wu Manyu's eyes widened. "You're the one having an epilepsy attack. I'm excited because it's my first time entering the land of demons." Jiang Fan smiled meaningfully. "Then you need to be mentally prepared. Don't get scared stiff when you see something strange." Ha! Wu Manyu was amused. As a disciple of the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion, she had experienced far more challenges than 9-sect disciples. This land of demons was not her first visit either. She had even almost entered the demon race's heartland once. Unless encountering that demon emperor, she couldn't think of anything else that could scare her stiff. "Then when I stiffen, you'd better hold me tight," Wu Manyu chuckled. Two white arms wrapped around Jiang Fan's neck. Her soft and full body nestled deeply into his embrace. A faint fragrance wafted over. As their movement technique bumped along, she intentionally rubbed against Jiang Fan's body. Her face occasionally showed a sly smile. Jiang Fan's face turned slightly red. "This damned seductress, don't cry later." They flew for 2 full hours. They had already entered the demon race's territory for a considerable distance. Along the way, they encountered 5 or 6 scattered demon beasts. Whether foundation establishment or core formation, Jiang Fan killed them all and took their demon cores. "Hugh!" Jiang Fan exhaled slightly. Sitting on the corpse of a demon beast, he crossed his legs and began circulating his mental method to replenish his spiritual power. Wu Manyu's eyes sparkled. "Junior brother, your spiritual power seems insufficient. When facing danger later, can you still carry me swiftly?" She had finally discovered Jiang Fan's fatal weakness. The realm, no matter how endless Jiang Fan's methods were, his shortcoming was fatal. That is, his realm was too low. This led to his spiritual power being much weaker than Wu Manyu's. If they encountered a tough opponent, Jiang Fan's spiritual power would soon be exhausted. At that moment, if she turned against him, Jiang Fan would be badly injured if not killed. "Don't worry, no problem," Jiang Fan said casually. If he wanted to supplement his spiritual power, he could always swallow a replenishing spirit pill. The reason he was cultivating to absorb spiritual energy was actually to secretly communicate with the evil spirit. At his speed, they had covered 400 or 500 miles within 2 hours. Yet he still hadn't encountered the dead corpse army. Could it be he was looking in the wrong direction? "Hey, evil spirit, senior, nascent soul venerate," No matter how he called, the evil spirit remained silent. Jiang Fan couldn't help but murmur, reached nascent soul and has such little tolerance. Already sulking. Only then did the evil spirit's vexed voice come from the black mirror. It's easy to talk when you don't have to do it. Would you be willing to exchange your 5 magnetic yuan mountain for some scrap material? Jiang Fan rolled his eyes. Then keep sulking. I didn't ask anything. What's the joke? Even if his brain was kicked by a donkey, he wouldn't make such an exchange. HMPH, the evil spirit sulked. Someone as fortunate as you should only go out at noon. Hey, why start insulting now? The top-grade spiritual artifact I obtained by my own effort, did it bother you? Moreover, the evil spirit seemed to sense something, further irritated. I told you to stay away from the dead corpse army. Instead, you ended up underneath their noses. Quickly hang me in a conspicuous place. I don't want to be buried with you in this icy land. What? The dead corpse army was nearby? Jiang Fan's heart thumped wildly. Instantly, he grabbed Wu Manyu and flew to a towering ice pillar. What are you doing? Wu Manyu was sitting comfortably, eating dry food. Suddenly being yanked up by Jiang Fan almost choked her. However, when she looked down and saw the scene in the basin, she trembled in fear. The dry food fell from her mouth, landed on her ample chest, and bounced off. What is that? Wu Manyu stuttered in disbelief. In that basin was a vast multitude of demon beasts, dense, stretching endlessly to the horizon. Too many to count. Conservatively estimated, there must be at least 1,000. That would be enough. The bodies of these demon beasts were rotten, exuding a nauseating stench that wafted over with the wind. It made Wu Manyu retch. Her stomach churned violently, almost regurgitating the dry food she had just eaten. That would be enough. Some of these demon beasts had rotted to mere skeletons. The eerie thing was they were still moving, taking steps, heading towards them unhurriedly. Wu Manyu prided herself on her vast experiences. The bizarre scene before her still left her shocked. They are dead bodies. The dead corpse army commanded by the demon priests? Just looking at the vast, unending dead corpse army, Jiang Fan couldn't help but take a cold breath. Hearing about it from the evil spirit was one thing. Seeing it with his own eyes was another. In the world, there was truly such a terrifying divine skill, able to control dead bodies for battle. They feared no pain, were ruthless and unafraid of death. Since they weren't living beings, they had no weak points. Killing them was extremely difficult. Their numbers were overwhelming. How could they be fought? A deep weight pressed heavily on his heart. And hearing it was a corpse army, Wu Manyu's entire body trembled uncontrollably, pupils dilating to the limit. Her voice filled with uncontrollable fear. You can't be saying that this is the legendary dead corpse army from ancient times, can you? Her legs went soft and she plopped down on the ground. She stared blankly at the vast and boundless dead corpse army. Her face turned pale. From the perspective of the human clan, she felt a profound despair. How could they fight this? Was there even a glimmer of hope for victory? Jiang Fan snapped out of his shock. Without saying a word, he immediately took out 3 black flags and cast spells on them. The 3 puppets that had always accompanied them from beneath the snow jumped out at once. Under Jiang Fan's command, the 3 puppets quietly headed towards the beast tide of dead corpses. What are you doing? Wu Manyu was startled. Jiang Fan said, catch one and take it back to persuade Boundary Mountain to retreat entirely. Such a massive dead corpse army was no longer something the few people on Boundary Mountain could withstand. They could only retreat to Sunset City. Are you courting death? Wu Manyu exclaimed. What if we alarm the dead corpse army? Jiang Fan blinked and said, of course we run. Or should we stay and wait for death? Huh. Wu Manyu was both shocked and frightened, complaining, why didn't you say so earlier? If I had known it was this dangerous, I wouldn't have come even if you beat me to death. Jiang Fan chuckled. If I'm not mistaken, didn't you insist on coming along? Only then did Wu Manyu remember. Jiang Fan had warned her of the danger, but she hadn't taken it seriously. But you didn't say it would be this dangerous. Wu Manyu regretted it to the core. Who knew this little rascal actually intended to catch a dead corpse? If they were discovered. The consequences Wu Manyu dared not even imagine, not to mention being chased by a vast dead corpse army. Just considering the demon priest who controlled such a huge dead corpse army, how weak could their power be? If they gave chase, even with great abilities, they might not escape. But the 3 puppets had already sneaked up to the edge of the dead corpse army, under Jiang Fan's control. The 3 puppets suddenly attacked. They targeted a small demon beast that, in life, seemed to have been in the Foundation establishment realm. Each grabbed a leg of the small demon beast, lifting it as if they were slaughtering a pig, and quickly ran back. Wu Manyu kept a close eye on the movements of the dead corpse army. Her heart was in her throat. She silently prayed the dead corpse army wouldn't notice. Otherwise, fortunately, these dead corpse army had no spiritual wisdom. One companion was taken and they had no reaction. Before long, the three puppets returned. The small demon beast, though in the Foundation establishment realm, was small only compared to mountain-like adult demon beasts. Its body was as large as a woodshed. Pinned to the ground by the three puppets, it kept kicking its legs. Its rotten body, reduced to just bones and a few decayed organs, struggled violently. Its mouth opened wide, trying to roar. Luckily, its throat had long rotted away. Otherwise, it would have already attracted the attention of the dead corpse army. "Let's go," Jiang Fan decisively said. Not alerting the dead corpse army was the best outcome, so he grabbed Wu Manyu. The three puppets carried the dead corpse demon beast. Both parties immediately sped back the way they came, just as they started moving. Jiang Fan suddenly sensed an extremely subtle soul fluctuation radiated from the center of the dead corpse army. He was shocked without a doubt. Their actions had been discovered. His mind momentarily panicked. The worst outcome had happened. The radiating soul fluctuation felt like a scan. It swept over Jiang Fan and the others, immediately locking onto them. Then, a soul power that made Jiang Fan's hair stand on end suddenly attacked from afar. "Soul attack!" Jiang Fan took a sharp breath. The demon priest could also perform a soul secret technique like him. He knew well the power of this technique. How could he dare to take it head-on? Without hesitation, he commanded a puppet to shield himself and Wu Manyu. In the next moment, the puppet's eyes rolled back, dead without even a groan, its soul completely destroyed. It died instantly. One of the black flags shattered with a crack. Fortunately, Jiang Fan was prepared, rolling up his sleeve to dissolve the blast shockwave. Even so, his arm was covered in shallow wounds from the explosion. Jiang Fan's eyes flashed with anger. "Soul attack, is it? Then you should try mine." A materialized spike shot out from his forehead, following the origin of the soul attack, and fiercely pierced forward. Ah! Faintly, a young girl's agonizing scream was heard. The marching dead corpse army suddenly plunged into chaos. The ones behind toppled those in front, and those in front twisted around to fight those behind. It was clear. Jiang Fan had successfully injured the enemy's soul. Unfortunately, the enemy's soul was very strong and seemed only to be harmed, unable to destroy this likely priest's existence. What happened? Why did we lose a puppet? Wu Manyu looked heartbroken at the dead puppet, full of complaints. She still didn't know. Just now a battle of souls had taken place. Jiang Fan's eyes rolled. Handed the remaining 2 black flags to her, he said, "Senior Sister Wu, thank you for lending your puppets this time. Now that we've caught the target, I'll return them to you." Using a puppet to block just now. The enemy must have sensed the puppet's aura. If they give chase, they'll most likely follow the puppet's aura. So, better to return this hot potato to the original owner. Huh! Wu Manyu was greatly surprised. She couldn't believe such a good thing existed in the world. "Are you really returning them to me?" Wu Manyu looked skeptical. Jiang Fan directly stuffed the 2 black flags into her arms, saying, "My master taught me from a young age to act as a gentleman and avoid petty ambitions. Today, for the human clan's great cause, I reluctantly took your array flags, already against my master's teachings. How dare I continue to keep them? I apologize for any offense caused. I hope you can forgive me." Wu Manyu opened her mouth. She was a bit shocked. This disciple of the 9 sect was brought up with such education. She even admired Jiang Fan's character a bit. The current martial path realm still had such gentlemanly spirit. He was truly a breath of fresh air. She glanced at Jiang Fan with a softer expression, but only just that. She thought to herself, the world could use more gentlemen like you. Otherwise, with people as smart and cunning as me, how else could we gain an advantage? She accepted the 2 black flags, saying, "All right, Senior Sister forgives you. We are all contributing to the safety of the human clan. Although 1 flag is broken, it's worth it." Her eyes turned to his, and she said, "Continue to carry me, Senior Sister, for a while longer. When you are out of spiritual power, Senior Sister will carry you." This return trip would take 2 hours. She needed to save her spiritual power for the final moment. If Jiang Fan ran out of spiritual power, then let him wait for death. Wu Manyu wouldn't care, but at this moment, the dead corpse army became disordered. A strong and incomparable presence emanated from the center of the dead corpse army, accompanied by a sharp scream. "You're courting death!" The injured priest was infuriated. A series of shadows darted out of the dead corpse army, rushing at them. Ninth layer of core formation? Wu Manyu was scared out of her wits. The demon clan expert controlling the dead corpse army was at such a high level. Jiang Fan's face changed, saying, "Senior Sister Wu, let's split up and run. I'll keep the dead corpse. Don't worry about me, run by yourself." What, such a good deal. Their pursuer would clearly lock onto the dead corpse's aura. She agreed without hesitation. "Okay, we'll meet at Boundary Mountain." She no longer disguised, taking out a magic artifact. It was a container similar to a small boat. She jumped on and infused it with spiritual power, making the boat swiftly glide over the snow. Its speed was not slower than Jiang Fan's movement technique. She turned and showed a sly smile. "Senior Sister forgot I had this magic artifact. Don't blame me for not telling you. I didn't do it on purpose." He knew this woman wasn't simple. He used his movement technique, catching up with her, running parallel. He said meaningfully, "I don't blame you, Senior Sister. I hope you don't blame me either." Manu was suspicious. Could it be that Jiang Fan had done something extremely bad to her? She thought of the puppet flag. But when she received it just now, she had secretly checked, and there was no trickery. "What do you mean?" she asked uneasily. Jiang Fan smiled lightly. "I mean that Senior Sister Wu needs to be careful." Wu Manyu frowned slightly. Thinking carefully, she shouldn't have shown any flaws that Jiang Fan could exploit. "Mysterious," she muttered, and then drove the small boat through the snow. Compared to movement technique, the small boat consumed much more spiritual power than the movement technique did. But she was at the 5th level of core formation, with spiritual power several times more abundant than Jiang Fan's. It wouldn't be a problem to drive the small boat back to Boundary Mountain for the entire journey. As for Jiang Fan, along the way, he had replenished his spiritual power twice. Approximately every 2 hours, due to the depletion of his spiritual power, he would be forced to stop and rest. At that time, the strong demon race members would naturally target him, and Wu Manyu would be able to seize the opportunity to escape. However, what shocked her was the rapid approach of the aura behind them. The strong demon race member at the 9th layer of core formation was actually faster than their movement technique and spirit boat. Jiang Fan said in a deep voice, "What are you waiting for? Aren't you going to let the puppet stay behind?" How could Wu Manyu be willing? Her combat strength was not high. She relied on 3 5th-layer core formation puppets to fight together, which allowed her to remain undefeated at the same level. Now that one had already been destroyed, how could she afford to lose another? She glanced at the corpse Jiang Fan was carrying on his back, her eyes twinkling, and said, "Why don't we split up and run? Life and death are determined by fate. Let's see who this demon race member will chase." Jiang Fan agreed without hesitation. "All right. I will continue on the original path. You figure it out yourself." Wu Manyu was overjoyed in her heart. At this critical moment, why was Jiang Fan acting like an idiot? Would that demon race member chase a dead body or come after her? "All right, junior brother, take care." Feigning a fond farewell, she then turned the boat and headed right at the fork in the road ahead. Jiang Fan breathed a slight sigh of relief. He whispered softly, "You wanted to split up, so don't blame me." After saying that, he threw the heavy demon beast corpse into the heavenly thunder stone. With nothing on his body, his movement technique suddenly surged. On the other path, after fleeing for an hour, Wu Manyu looked serious. "What's going on? Why is this demon race member chasing me?" She was puzzled. It shouldn't be. Jiang Fan had stolen the corpse, which was an act of espionage. There was no reason for the demon race member to leave Jiang Fan and chase her, an insignificant person. "Still trying to escape?" A delicate snort came from behind. Wu Manyu turned her head to look. She gasped in shock. She saw a 100-foot-long, 9-headed giant python raising a storm of snow as it came straight toward her. The giant python was as smooth as jade, with no signs of decay. Its eyes were dim, indicating it was already dead. However, its lingering aura still made one's scalp tingle. Even from the 4 Vice Pavilion Masters, Wu Manyu had never felt this kind of aura. Its power was between 9th-layer perfection and nascent soul. This 9-headed giant python was probably the corpse of a demon emperor. Wu Manyu gasped, and with a tingling scalp, frantically drove the small boat in a wild escape. Seeing that it was about to catch up, she gritted her teeth and painfully activated a puppet, leaving it behind to cover. It could buy as much time as it could. However, in just one encounter, the 5th-layer core formation puppet was instantly crushed into a blood mist by the 9-headed giant python, without any resistance. The flag in Wu Manyu's hand shattered on the spot. So it's you? On the back of the nine-headed giant python stood an 18-year-old girl with a face full of anger. She wore a colorful dress embroidered with ancient runes. Her black hair was tied in a lady's braid with a butterfly bow made of white bone. A delicate necklace made of crystal bones hung around her snowy white neck. She had a classic oval face, almond-shaped eyes, red lips, and a high-bridged nose. Her gaze was sharp and authoritative. Surprisingly, she was a gentle and beautiful girl from the southern regions of the Jiangnan area. For a moment, Wu Manyu almost thought the other party was human. On second thought, she felt a chill. The more similar to humans a demon race member was, the more powerful it was. "Senior, why are you chasing me?" Wu Manyu pleaded while running. "I came here unintentionally with my companion." "Please, Senior, show mercy." The beautiful girl's face was cold as ice. The bursts of pain emanating from her soul made her eyes even colder. "Show mercy. Aren't you adept at soul attacks? Try it on me again." The beautiful girl spoke coldly. The giant python raised one of its heads, protecting her. She had been psychologically scarred by the previous soul attack. She didn't want to experience it a second time. "Huh." Wu Manyu was stunned. "Soul attack. Senior, you misunderstood. I don't know such a miraculous soul secret technique." The beautiful girl sneered, revealing a row of gleaming silver teeth, playing dumb. "I ask you, are these puppets yours?" Wu Manyu hesitated for a moment, wanting to deny it. But since she had just used one to cover, it seemed she couldn't lie. She stuttered, "They are mine." The beautiful girl's eyes flashed with killing intent. Then it settled. "Just now, when you and I were engaging in a soul attack from a distance, you were controlling the puppets to block my soul attack. So the one who injured me, who else could it be but you?" Damn. Wu Manyu instantly understood why that puppet had suddenly died. She also understood why Jiang Fan had suddenly shown such kindness by returning the remaining 2 puppets to her. It was because Jiang Fan knew he had caused a huge trouble and knew that the puppet's aura would provoke a chase. So he shifted the misfortune eastward, giving all the puppets back to her. And he even said it was the master's teaching to be a gentleman. Realizing that she had been greatly fooled, Wu Manyu's chest heaved with anger and she screamed in despair. "Jiang Fan, I will kill you." The beautiful girl frowned slightly, snorting, "Stop pretending. Soul attacks have always been a bane-like forbidden technique to my demon race. As a priest, I mustn't let you live." Roar. The nine-headed giant python roared and charged. The strike of a demon emperor's corpse, how terrifying was it? Though it didn't have the world-destroying power of a nascent soul, it was still far beyond what Wu Manyu could withstand. In an instant, the small boat was sent flying. Wu Manyu spat blood, flipping through the air like a crimson butterfly. The giant python's attacks didn't cease. Another head struck like lightning, aiming to crush her into a blood mist midair. Wu Manyu gritted her silver teeth. She painfully took out a tattered silver scroll. After tearing it open, a silver light engulfed her. The next moment, she vanished into thin air. "A space scroll?" The beautiful girl was astonished. She never expected this woman to have a space scroll that had been lost since ancient times. This scroll contained space power. It could teleport a person 100 miles away. It was a life-saving divine artifact. "Do you think I will let you escape?" She carefully sensed and detected the position of the puppet's aura. Pointing with her finger from afar, "Chase!" The nine-headed giant python roared and pursued. Before long, she caught up with a demon beast running wildly in the forest. Its rear end had been stabbed, causing it to run around in pain. A black flag and a puppet were tied to its back. The beautiful girl's eyes flared with rage. "Cunning human! Damn it! I don't believe I can't catch you." She waved her hand. The puppet exploded into a blood mist on the spot. She continued chasing along the path to Boundary Mountain. She didn't know how long it had been. That running demon beast suddenly collapsed with a thud. A sharp blade emerged from within, slicing open its belly. A figure in a wine-red dress, covered in thick liquid and filth, climbed out from within it. If it wasn't Wu Manyu, who else could it be? She stared at the direction the nine-headed giant python had gone. She took out the opened silver scroll whose light had dimmed, the space power completely gone. It had already become a discarded scroll. Her palm trembled, her eyes full of heartache. It felt as if her chest was bleeding. This was her hidden life-saving talisman. It was discovered along with the array flag. In terms of preciousness, it was far more valuable than the array flag. She had carefully preserved it to use one day if she encountered a great danger herself. If really unnecessary, she could sell it at a high price to some senior in exchange for endless resources. But it was wasted here due to Jiang Fan. "Jiang Fan, If I don't avenge this, I swear I am not human. Jiang Fan, who was on the road, suddenly sneezed without warning. Is Xia Caoj thinking of me? Jiang Fan muttered to himself, after trekking for one more 2-hour period. He had already covered more than half the journey. In another 2-hour period, he could be back at Boundary Mountain. Rumble, the sound of a vibration from far to near came. Jiang Fan squinted his eyes. He decisively tapped the snow with his toe, leaped into the air, and sprang onto a pile of snow. Then he donned the turtle breath cloak, withdrew his spiritual power fluctuations and aura. As the sound got closer, Jiang Fan's pupils could not help but shrink. It turned out to be a gigantic 9-headed giant python. Even the evil spirit, who was in seclusion, was alarmed and said, "My goodness, the demon emperor's corpse was refined into a dead corpse puppet. I really underestimated the demon race's priest. Their mastery of the dead corpse technique has reached a certain level." He couldn't help but feel a little uneasy. "Boy, you need to find a way to go to the demon race's heartland soon. I'm worried if you go too late, the nascent soul's body will be found by the demon priest and be refined into a puppet again. That way, the body will be wasted, and it will be hard for me to borrow it for resurrection." The agreement between Jiang Fan and the evil spirit was to help the evil spirit find a nascent soul's body. After it left, the Black Mirror would belong entirely to Jiang Fan. Of course, Jiang Fan never really believed this. As the 9-headed giant python approached, Jiang Fan then noticed a delicate girl like a southern beauty standing on the python's head. A beautiful, pretty face and a tall figure. Among humans, she could be considered a rare beauty. However, Jiang Fan became more and more apprehensive. The last demon race member who looked like a human was Liu Li, the demon emperor's daughter. This time, another being who looked human appeared, and it was clear even with a guess that she wasn't ordinary. He held his breath, remained motionless. With the invisibility ability of the turtle breath cloak, it was easy to avoid being detected. Rumble, sure enough, the 9-headed giant python and the girl on its head passed by without noticing anything. But at the moment they almost passed each other, the python's tail suddenly whipped over without warning. Its speed was as fast as a thunderbolt. By the time Jiang Fan reacted, the tail was already in front of him. His face changed. He decisively retreated by using his movement technique, successfully dodging the tail's direct impact. But the sharp gust from the tail still sent him flying, crashing into an ice mountain. The turtle breath cloak was shaken off. His form was revealed. Jiang Fan tasted blood in his throat, grabbed the turtle breath cloak, and showed a look of surprise and suspicion. Rumble, the 9-headed giant python, had turned around, its gigantic 9 heads held high. The girl standing on the middle head crossed her arms on her chest. She coldly said from above, "How many of our demon race's strong members did you kill? For such a thick blood aura to gather on your body? I could smell it from 10 miles away." Blood aura again. Back then, Jian Linyuan had also discovered Jiang Fan in a hidden state by the blood aura. He had warned Jiang Fan to control the killing of demon beasts. Otherwise, one day he would become the public enemy of the demon race. Afterward, Jiang Fan had slain over 60 beast kings in Skybreaking Canyon, and nearly 100 demon beasts of various sizes at Boundary Mountain. The demon race's blood aura on him had become so strong that even the turtle breath cloak couldn't conceal it. But human eyes could not see it. "Humph!" Jiang Fan swallowed the blood in his throat and said, "Your nose is quite sharp. It's a pity you're not a dog." The beautiful girl slightly raised her willow leaf eyebrows and said coldly, "I have other important people to kill. I don't have time to waste with you. Destroy him," at her command. The 9-headed giant python spat out a black mist, like fire but also like poison mist. Before it even swept over, Jiang Fan felt dizzy and weak. The evil spirit immediately warned him, "Be careful, this is deadly air. A touch and you're dead. Quickly use your Thunder Path technique. Deadly air is a type of sinister, and Thunder Path specifically restrains it." Upon knowing it was deadly air, Jiang Fan had already started to use the Thunder Dragon Lightning Leg. With a slight dive, he kicked through the air. Whoosh! 2 thunder dragons instantly plunged into the approaching deadly air. It had to be said, Thunder Path was indeed the nemesis of all evil things. The extremely dangerous and majestic deadly air, after being hit by the 2 thunder dragons, instantly dissipated completely. Not a trace left. The remaining thunder arcs splashed onto the python's body. It shook violently a few times. The girl on the python's head stumbled, somewhat embarrassedly kneeling on the ground. A trace of shame and anger appeared on her indifferent, pretty face. "So you are a disciple of the true Thunder Sect. Good, very good. No wonder you dared to intrude into the demon race's territory. Either you have cultivated a soul-secret technique, or you are a disciple of the true Thunder Sect. The girl got up, her face icy. Then I will deal with you first, then deal with that bastard. Crush him. She began to pay slight attention to the human around her age in front of her. A young disciple possessing such powerful Thunder Path technique was truly surprising. Fortunately, she brought along a dead corpse puppet refined from the Demon Emperor's corpse. If it was a puppet refined from a core formation realm corpse, it would probably not withstand his Thunder Path technique. This person was a considerable threat to her dead corpse army. He must be eliminated. Roar! The python's 9 heads roared together. The terrifying body 100 feet long charged towards Jiang Fan, so fast. Jiang Fan had no time to dodge, but he didn't plan to escape either. The slight thunder arc just now had made the giant python tremble. What if he used the rarely practiced 5 Thunder True Heaven Palm? Could this dead corpse of the Demon Emperor still hold out? Jiang Fan had drained all the power of thunder and lightning from the heavenly thunder stone to finally master the 5 Thunder True Heaven Palm. He had never had the chance to try its power. Now it was the perfect opportunity. He took a deep breath, gathered spiritual power between his palms. The mighty thunder and lightning stored in his body began to boil like water. It surged out from his pores and converged at his chest. A thunder arc, 2 thunder arcs, 3 thunder arcs in an instant. A thundercloud formed in front of Jiang Fan's chest. Crackling sounds rang out. The thundercloud emitted intermittent destructive light. Jiang Fan's face was indistinct in the light, and the heavens and the earth around were both illuminated inconsistently. The evil spirit gasped. Where did you get so much thunder? As an evil entity, it felt a tremendous threat. Back then, if Jiang Fan had used such thunder against it, it would have been obliterated. The girl's face also changed drastically. She felt a tremendous threat and urged, "Quickly, trample him to death." The power of this thundercloud was far stronger than the previous move by many times, but realizing Jiang Fan's threat now was already too late. Fan growled low. He suddenly thrust his palms forward. A thundercloud filled with a destructive aura rapidly condensed in front of his chest into a giant thunderous palm, 10 zhang large. As Jiang Fan's palms struck out, the giant thunderous palm instantly blasted forth. Scholars like to describe extreme speed as speed of lightning, but real lightning far surpassed the scholars' descriptions. There wasn't even an instant of time. It was as if it teleported out of thin air. The giant thunderous palm heavily slammed into the chest of the 9-headed giant python. In a split second, the pristine jade-like chest of the giant python was struck, creating a charred, palm-sized blood hole. Large quantities of black corpse blood flowed out from it. But the external injury was secondary. The thunder power surged through its body, destroying all the death energy within. Death energy was the core of refining dead corpse puppets. Once this energy dissipated, the connection between the 9-headed giant python and the girl was severed. Without control, the 9-headed giant python collapsed to the ground. The young girl standing atop it changed her expression dramatically. She hurriedly jumped down. Bang! It was as if a mountain had collapsed. The 9-headed giant python slammed into the ground, causing an earthquake across the snowfield. For a moment, the ground shook. The ice field cracked. The girl who jumped down was crushed under the 9-headed giant python, her fate unknown. Hiss! The evil spirit took a deep breath. You were hiding such a powerful thunder path technique. A dead corpse puppet refined from a demon emperor's body couldn't even withstand this strike. Jiang Fan was also shocked by the power of this strike. However, this was not the full might of the 5 Thunder True Heaven Palm. According to the cultivation technique, if there was thunder in the sky, this palm technique could invoke tribulation thunder to annihilate the enemy. That power could truly destroy the heavens and the earth. Nothing could escape it. But now he didn't have time to lament. He sensed the girl's aura, raised an eyebrow, and said, "Still talking. You'd better run." That girl was a demon beast at the 9th layer of core formation. She was at the level of war generals like Blood Flood Dragon and Sea Charm. Even the 9 sect masters could hardly match her. Only the Supreme Elders could suppress her with overwhelming strength. Without a nascent soul jade token in hand, Jiang Fan didn't think he could handle such an opponent. While she was trapped, escaping was the best strategy. With a swish, he pushed his movement technique to the limit and frantically fled towards Boundary Mountain. Boom, he hadn't run far when he heard a noise behind him like mountains shifting and seas overturning. Turning his head, Jiang Fan's pupils contracted. The mountain-like nine-headed giant python was slowly being lifted. A girl with icy eyes and clad in colorful clothes raised the nine-headed giant python with both hands. Then, with great force, she threw it fiercely towards Jiang Fan. What's this terrifying brute strength? Jiang Fan was horrified. How could he dare hesitate? Decisively, he took out the 5 magnetic yuan mountain and controlled it with his soul, sending it crashing into the nine-headed giant python's corpse. One was like a mountain, and the other was a real mountain. The two collided in midair with an earth-shaking explosion. However, the 5 magnetic yuan mountain was unscathed. The nine-headed giant python, on the other hand, lost 3 of its heads, the remaining ones bloody and mangled. Jiang Fan dared not hesitate. He summoned back the 5 magnetic yuan mountain and continued to flee. Seeing the nine-headed giant python's head smashed to pieces, the girl hurried over. Finding that 3 of the heads were completely gone and the others badly damaged and hard to repair, her face turned icy, and she stared grimly in the direction of Jiang Fan, murmuring fiercely, "I'll kill you." Swish, she kicked off with her feet, exploding with inhuman, terrifying speed. Fortunately, Jiang Fan was a bit faster, maintaining a distance of about 15 zhang per step. She, relying solely on her physique, could cover about 12 or 13 zhang per step. The angrier she got, the faster she pursued. She initially thought it would be easy to kill a single human, who knew that he would use a thunder path technique as soon as he made a move, and then use an even more powerful, strange, small mountain. What drove her mad was, as a demon beast at the 9th layer of core formation, she couldn't catch up to him. "Damn it!" Gurgle, she growled low, and her body made a sound like boiling water. Her demon race chi blood power was activated. A pair of dark red ethereal wings appeared visibly on her back. With a flap, her body was lifted slightly off the ground, significantly reducing her weight, making her light as a swallow. Her speed naturally increased drastically, quickly reaching a distance of 20 zhang per step. Damn, is that even fair? Jiang Fan's scalp tingled. Demonic beast's innate talents were like cheating. Seeing the murderous intent in her expression as she closed in, Jiang Fan gritted his teeth. A phantom soul nail appeared between his brows again, and he instantly shot it out. The girl always assumed Wu Manyu was the sole attacker. How could she suspect Jiang Fan? By the time she realized something was wrong, the nail had already pierced her soul. Ah! Being struck from such a close range was a different matter than being affected from afar. The excruciating pain in her soul caused her chi blood to become chaotic, and her wings disappeared suddenly. Her high-speed rushing body lost control, stumbling to the ground and rolling a few times. She struggled to get up, furious. "It was you who was the sole attacker." No wonder that woman said she wouldn't. It turns out the true wielder of the technique was this young man before her. How could Jiang Fan pay any attention to her? While her soul was damaged, he quickly flickered and disappeared into the snowfield. The girl gritted her teeth. "Bastard! Twice you've harmed my soul, and you ruined my most beloved nine-headed giant python. And you still want to run?" Arg! She forced herself to endure the soul-piercing pain and swiftly pursued him. But with her soul damaged, she couldn't concentrate while traveling, significantly slowing her speed down to around 15 zhang per step, evenly matched with Jiang Fan. "Damn it, let's see how long you can last." The girl clutched her aching head, cursing. "You're a mere human at the 2nd layer of core formation. How long can you sustain such a huge expenditure of spiritual power? When your spiritual power is exhausted, it's your death day." When she said this, her face was full of anger. Who would believe that a mighty 9th layer demon race expert would have to rely on the opponent's spiritual power running out to catch him? If word got out, no one would believe it, right? But that's the reality. The various methods this human disciple had just used. Who could believe such a disciple was capable of them without experiencing it firsthand? The more this was so, the firmer her resolve to kill became. After an hour, Jiang Fan, who had been running frantically, finally depleted his spiritual power. His movement technique noticeably slowed. The girl coldly laughed. "Why aren't you running? Continue. Weren't you good at running?" Her eyes were filled with anger. She initially thought Jiang Fan's spiritual power would be exhausted quickly. Unexpectedly, the chase lasted for an hour. The more she chased, the angrier she became. She had never seen such a hard-to-kill human disciple. Finally, it could end, however. What left the girl stunned was, Jiang Fan took out a pill and threw it into his mouth. Then, under the girl's astonished gaze, he was revitalized. With an abundant surge of spiritual power, he once again increased his movement technique and continued to flee. What is this?" The girl was dumbstruck. After a long while, she angrily shouted, "You cheat! Can it be played like this? Never heard of humans having spirit pills that could instantly refill spiritual power." Seeing Jiang Fan running further away and now nearing the foot of Boundary Mountain, the girl gritted her teeth, taking out a piece of resin from her waist. Inside was a sealed drop of spirit-pressuring golden blood. Jiang Fan recognized this scene easily, Demon Emperor's essence blood. When Xianxia from the 6th level of core formation swallowed it, his cultivation instantly leaped a whole realm, greatly enhancing his strength. Jiang Fan's scalp tingled, irritated. "You are a demon priest, using the Demon Emperor's essence blood against a mere human? Aren't you ashamed?" The girl's face reddened. Both ashamed and angry, she stomped her feet and said, "I want to use it. Today I'll kill you no matter what." She immediately gritted her teeth and painfully swallowed this precious drop of Demon Emperor's essence blood. The terrifying chi blood power instantly swept through her body like a torrent. Her physique, speed, perception, and even her realm were instantly elevated by a level. Swish, with one step she crossed 30 zhang. Seeing this, Jiang Fan cursed in frustration. "You have no shame." Damn it. How did he end up running into such an unscrupulous person? A 9th-layer demon beast using the Demon Emperor's essence blood to chase him. Is there any law in this world? Any justice? The girl's shyness was uncontrollable. Her cold and delicate face turned so red it seemed like water might drip from it. She bit her red lips tightly, saying angrily, "Shut up. I won't let you speak. Say it again and I'll tear your mouth apart first." Jiang Fan was also furious. "I will say it. Shameless demon priest, shameless. Wah." The girl was so angry that steam seemed to rise from her head, constantly looking around. She was afraid someone might hear. Her eyes were burning with shame and anger. "You are doomed. You are doomed today. No one can save you. I swear it." The huge gap in movement technique rapidly shortened the distance between them. Jiang Fan was extremely annoyed. He raised his hand and grabbed something. 5 flags of various colors were thrown out by him. The palm-sized flags caught the wind, growing instantly into 5-foot-tall giant flags. The 5 flags formed a gigantic array, trapping the pursuing girl within it. Illusion, defense, attack, binding, spirit absorption. The 5 flags immediately exerted their effects. The girl was trapped instantly. "Do you think such an array can trap me?" She swung her fist fiercely at the air in front of her. Poof! The 5 flags shattered on the spot as if they were made of paper. Taking advantage of the brief moment, Jiang Fan only managed to put a little more distance between them, far from the point of escaping. Jiang Fan was heartbroken. "You little rascal, you'd better not let me escape. Our grudges are settled." These 5-colored array flags were hard-earned from Fan Xingkang. He had never used them properly before, but they were destroyed by the girl. The girl's eyes flashed with a cold light, grinding her teeth. She sneered, "Don't worry. Having used Demon Emperor's blood, do you think you can escape?" Swoosh, she raised her movement technique once more, chasing fiercely. Moments later, the girl finally caught up with Jiang Fan. Unable to contain her excitement, she said grimly, "Time to die? Bastard!" She leaped forward. She jumped in front of Jiang Fan. Turning around, she delivered a terrifying punch at the 9th layer of core formation straight at his heart. Despite Jiang Fan's cunning, it was useless against absolute strength. However, she suddenly noticed Jiang Fan holding a copper coin in his mouth. As her punch came, he decisively infused spiritual power into it. Instantly, the copper coin emitted an ancient bronze glow, forming a spherical shield around him. Buzz her punch landed on it. The shield trembled violently but didn't break. Instead, she was staggered backward by the force of the recoil. A 9th layer of core formation, defensive magical treasure. The girl was nearly in despair, screaming frantically, "What is wrong with you? Why are you so hard to kill?" No way. Was she really chasing after a mere disciple? How did he seem more troublesome than those human elders? Take a guess. Jiang Fan's eyes also flashed with anger. The life-saving copper coin given by Yu Yunzi was used up just like that. This despicable girl. As he finished speaking, he gave a sharp look. A cold, purple ancient sword suddenly stabbed up from under the girl's feet. The girl's attention was entirely focused on Jiang Fan and his defenses. How could she have predicted that as he used the life-saving copper coin, Jiang Fan had also buried the purple sword underground in advance, giving her an unexpected fatal strike? The girl's heart suddenly skipped a beat. A huge sense of life-or-death crisis overwhelmed her heart. Without thinking, she jumped away. But the purple glow at her feet chased her through the air, quickly piercing her soul and stabbing upward violently. It looked as if it would pierce her from bottom to top. The girl's heart was horrified. Decisively, she pulled a crystal from her necklace and crushed it. The crystal powder immediately adhered to her body, making her body like crystal itself. The purple sword that had already pierced her soul could not go any further. The girl roared with rage, "You tricked me!" before she could finish speaking. A sudden shadow loomed over her head. The 5 magnetic Yuan mountains smashed down from above. Bang! The girl's face changed drastically again. Another strike! She angrily raised both hands, trying to hold off the 5 magnetic Yuan mountain pressing down. But as she touched it, she was shocked at the terrifying weight of the mountain. Crack! Her feet sank into the ice below instantaneously. Her entire body creaked under the unbearable weight. As a 9th layer of core formation practitioner, she couldn't even withstand this mountain. What scared her even more? Under the suppression of the 5 magnetic Yuan mountain, the crystal adhering to her body was stripped away, revealing flesh and blood. Jiang Fan's eyes were sharp and seized the opportunity, giving a low shout. Slash! The purple sword turned into a beam of extreme light, instantly pierced through her body. Ah! The girl's abdomen was pierced with a blood hole. She screamed in anguish. Her whole body's chi blood power surged up. She actually lifted the 5 magnetic Yuan mountain. Jiang Fan's eyelids twitched violently, this woman too fierce. Seeing she was about to break free, Jiang Fan dared not linger, decisively using his movement technique. But before leaving, he glanced at the necklace on her neck and dashed forward, ripping it off and stuffing it into his pocket. Chased by this woman, losing the 5 colored array flags and a copper coin. He had to get something back, didn't he? Ah, give it back! The girl was frantic, screaming. She lifted her foot, trying to kick Jiang Fan away. Jiang Fan quickly dodged. He was tempted to take the butterfly hairpin from her head as well. It must also be something good. But the girl was about to break free. Jiang Fan couldn't afford the luxury of time. He decisively used his movement technique, fleeing quickly. Once he had run 100 yards away, he performed a distant summoning, retrieving the 5 magnetic Yuan mountain with his soul power. The girl broke free. Ignoring the wound in her abdomen, she jumped up to chase Jiang Fan furiously. As soon as she moved, she fell to the ground with a thud. It turned out, her feet had been pierced with blood holes, making it hard to walk, let alone run swiftly. Her abdomen also suffered a severe penetrating wound. For the demon race, such a wound wasn't fatal, but it severely hindered her movement. For at least half a day, until her injury healed, she couldn't possibly catch up with Jiang Fan, who had run out of sight. Bastard! The girl pounded the snowfield fiercely, causing a series of tremors. The surrounding ice and snow were blasted into the air. She glared with red eyes in the direction Jiang Fan had disappeared into, her jaw clenched, nearly grinding her teeth to pieces. This time, she could say she suffered heavy losses, not to mention taking 2 soul attacks consecutively. Her beloved 9-headed giant python was severely damaged. She even wasted her only drop of the demon emperor's essence blood. But, in the end, she not only failed to kill that human boy, she was also tricked into suffering 2 injuries. More importantly, her necklace was stolen. That was the treasure of the priest lineage. Who would believe that a 9th layer of core formation warrior was chasing a human disciple at the 2nd level of core formation? The more she thought about it, the angrier she got. The angrier she got, the more she thought about it. Finally, unable to contain her fury, she spat out a mouthful of blood mist. "Human clan!" The girl gritted her blood-soaked teeth. "You will pay the price." "Definitely," after speaking. She took off the butterfly hairpin from her head, filled with killing intent. Blew gently into the hole on the hairpin. A low sound like a war horn was heard. Woo-woo-woo hundreds of miles away. The dead corpse army, marching in an orderly and slow manner, raised their heads in unison. As if hearing the call, they picked up their pace to march forward, looking out over the entire snowfield. It was all dead corpses, up to 10,000 in number. After Jiang Fan escaped, he did not rest for a moment. Finally, after an hour, he successfully fled to the foot of Boundary Mountain. Seeing Li Qingfeng frowning and gazing into the distance on the hillside, he finally felt relieved. He had narrowly escaped death and saved his life. He turned his gaze. While Li Qingfeng hadn't noticed him yet, he quietly took the living corpse out of the heavenly thunderstone and suppressed it under an ice mountain. Only then did he quickly head towards Boundary Mountain. "Jiang Fan!" Li Qingfeng saw from afar that Jiang Fan had returned and immediately stepped forward to greet him. "You kid, how could you be so reckless? Daring to charge into the demon race territory alone? What if something had happened to you? How would I explain it to the sect master and the supreme elders? Ever since he learned that Jiang Fan and Wu Manyu went to the demon race territory, he had been worried. He had been guarding this place. If Jiang Fan had not returned, he had planned to search in the snowfield. Supreme elders? Jiang Fan was puzzled. The only two supreme elders of the Green Cloud sect he had ever seen were Zhuang Yunian of Sect Master Peak and Shikaishan of Heavenly Sword Peak. Would they care about a small disciple like me? Having no time to think about it, Jiang Fan said, "Elder Li, please quickly gather the personnel guarding Boundary Mountain and the Great Wall. I have an urgent matter to inform them about." Li Qingfeng was surprised. But seeing Jiang Fan's extremely serious expression, he said, "They are already gathering. Follow me." They are already gathering. With this doubt in mind, Jiang Fan arrived at the peak of Boundary Mountain and saw a dense crowd of heads. There were over 200 people. Besides the core formation disciples, there were many foundation establishment disciples in the 7th or 8th layer. In addition, there were many elders with powerful auras. Several were from the Green Cloud sect. Elder Wen, Elder Zhao? Jiang Fan immediately recognized two familiar elders. When Hong Yao and Zhao Wuji turned at the sound, their faces showed expressions of joy. "Jiang, I was wondering why I hadn't seen you." When Hong Yao quickly walked over. Pinching Jiang Fan's cheek, she scolded with a smile, "You kid, quietly took the first place on the merit list." Zhao Wuji, with a face full of happiness, also patted his shoulder and said, "The news came back to the sect, and everyone couldn't believe it. They all wondered how you, a young boy, managed to reach first place. I saw your potential back then, and it turns out you are indeed extraordinary. Now, seizing the opportunity, you shot to fame across the 9-sect land. Who in the 9-sect land doesn't know the name Jiang Fan now? Our sect also shines with pride because of you." At this moment, two other elders of the Green Cloud sect also came over. After a greeting, they introduced Jiang Fan to the other sect elders with glowing faces. Come, Elder Chen, this is our Green Cloud sect disciple, Jiang Fan. Old Huang, your Heavenly Sound sect doesn't have such a good disciple, do you?" With Jiang Fan's arrival, all eyes gathered on him. Whether elders or newly arrived frontline disciples, everyone was curious about the first place Jiang Fan. After all, the last time they heard Jiang Fan's name was 6 months ago when the Green Cloud sect master accepted a disciple without a spirit root. At that time, Jiang Fan's reputation was not good. The next time they heard his name, he had already surpassed Xia Keoj and Jin Zhongming as the top-level prodigy, monopolizing first place on the merit list and overshadowing all others. The stark contrast was too significant to ignore. Who wouldn't be curious? Junior brother Jiang. Yilangsing squeezed through the crowd of disciples and ran up with joyful eyes, cheering in surprise. Jiang Fan looked over, showing a bit of surprise. "You've broken through to the 9th layer of foundation establishment. Congratulations." Yilangsing cupped his hands. "It's all thanks to your care, junior brother, allowing senior sister Qin, junior sister Chu, and I to choose precious resources from the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. Thanks to you, I have broken through to the 9th layer of foundation establishment." Surrounding elders exchanged puzzled glances. They had heard about 3 low-tier foundation establishment disciples suddenly emerging on the merit list, surpassing veteran prodigies like Zhu Wancheng and taking 3 of the top 10 spots. Rumor had it that Jiang Fan led them to complete a heaven-level task, securing such rankings. Now it seemed to be true. "I am Chu Xingmeng's master." A female elder from the Supreme sect walked over, smiling widely. "I always felt Xingmeng was a blessed child. It seems I was right. On her first outing, she met a benefactor who guided her. Thanks to you, she has already broken through to the 6th layer of foundation establishment, making her the fastest cultivation among the new disciples. I thank you on behalf of Xingmeng. Please accept this small token." She gave Jiang Fan a precious spirit ginseng. Seeing this, Qiu Shengnan, Qin Kei's master, also hurried over. Her face was full of affection. "Young one, you have taken such good care of Kei. With the resources from the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion, she has broken through to the 7th layer of foundation establishment. She will come to the front line soon. By then, she will thank you properly." Though Yilangsing's master was not present, an elder from the Spirit Beast sect expressed gratitude. Jiang Fan cupped his hands. "You 3 elders are too kind. I have a good relationship with senior sisters Qin and Chu. It was nothing to lend a hand." This left the disciples present completely speechless. With just a casual help, he secured them 3 places in the top 10 of the merit list, and each exchanged for rare resources unavailable in the 9-sect land, leading to significant cultivation breakthroughs. If he helped with all his efforts, wouldn't they ascend to the heavens? Seeing Jiang Fan so warmly received, Li Qingfeng and the others could not stop smiling. Their backs straightened without them realizing. "Kid, when we return to the sect, we must convene all the disciples to learn from you," Li Qingfeng laughed. Jiang Fan smiled and curiously asked, "Why did so many elders and disciples suddenly rush to the front lines? Could they have known about the dead corpse army in advance? If so, then his trip was in vain. He almost lost his life to the demon priest." Li Qingfeng said, "Didn't the defensive line break last time?" The Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion feared the conflict would escalate beyond the disciples' capabilities, so they urgently assembled half the elders from various sects and all disciples in the 7th layer of Foundation establishment or above, rushing them to the front lines. In addition, the sect master of the True Thunder sect also personally oversees Boundary Mountain. Hearing this, Jiang Fan was overjoyed. Reinforcements had arrived just in time. With over 30 elders and more than 200 7th layer Foundation establishment disciples, they might not need to retreat from the front line after all. Though the dead corpse army was large, they were limited by being transformed corpses. Their strength only retained a tenth of what it was when alive. The strongest, the 9-headed giant python, while nascent soul in life, lost much of that power upon transformation. The rest of the corpses were even less of a concern. Core Formation Realm 9th layer transformed corpses might retain the 4th layer's power at best. And Core Formation 1st or 2nd layer transformed into something around Foundation Establishment 5th or 6th layers. Moreover, the human clan was backed by miles of city walls and stationed at Boundary Mountain. Defending against attacks, fighting back the dead corpse army wasn't impossible. Jiang Fan was about to describe the dead corpse army when there was a loud rumble. A bolt of thunder seemed to come from the heavens, crashing down among the crowd. The explosion of thunder stunned many low cultivation disciples, causing their blood to churn. The surrounding elders were also forced to retreat continuously by the impact of the thunder. Everyone looked on in shock. At the point of impact, there stood a majestic figure, bathed in blue-white thunderbolts. Everyone among the 9th sect. There was only one person who could command thunder and make such a domineering entrance. That person was the sect master of the True Thunder sect, Lei Zhenhai. Everyone was shocked by this terrifying entrance. Jiang Fan was equally astonished. Was that just now transforming into a thunderbolt and descending from the sky? Was this a thunder path technique or a movement technique? It was so mysterious and unpredictable. Li Qingfeng's face changed, and he whispered, "Could it be that sect master Lei has already comprehended the technique on that thunder extension order?" Lei Zhenhai, whose whole body was radiating with thunder light. The astonishing thunder light attached to his body gradually dissipated into the air, revealing his true form. He was a 7-foot-tall middle-aged man with a sharp face and long eyebrows wearing a golden robe. His nose was high and his lips were thin. His eyes were cold and fierce. He gave the impression of being very harsh and difficult to approach. Upon hearing this, his face showed an authoritative look as he said, "Does my sect need to report to you on what techniques we practice?" Li Qingfeng's expression stiffened, and he quickly said, "I dare not." Humph. Lei Zhenhai clasped his hands behind his back and said with an imposing air, "By the order of Vice Pavilion Master Yi, I will temporarily oversee the Jishan battlefield. All the elders and disciples here follow my unified arrangement. Those who disobey will be executed." Everyone was solemn, even though Lei Zhenhai's domineering attitude made people uncomfortable. However, in the face of the overall situation, the martial artists on Jishan must have a powerful commander to lead them. If everyone was fighting separately, they could easily be defeated by a powerful enemy. Now listen to my orders. Elders and disciples of the True Thunder sect, Supreme Sect, Myriad Sword sect, and Giant sect guard Jishan. Elders and disciples of the Spirit Beast sect and Desire sect patrol the left side of the Great Wall on Jishan, ready to provide support at any time. Thousand Refinement sect, Heavenly Sound sect, and Green Cloud sect patrol the right side of the Great Wall on Jishan and prepare to provide support. Execute immediately, as soon as the words fell. The disciples who had been assigned to patrol the Great Wall frowned heavily. The Great Wall stood 100 feet high, covered with ice and snow, making it slick and difficult to climb. Therefore, the demon beasts mainly attacked Jishan. Few demon beasts attempted to climb the Great Wall. Patrolling the Great Wall, they would lose the opportunity to kill demon beasts. In contrast, The disciples of the True Thunder sect and the upper three sects would gain the advantage. The elders of the five sects also realized the problem. This was cutting off their disciples' sources of merit before they could voice their objections. Lei Zhenhai's cold gaze swept over them. Any objections? Then shut up. I am informing you, not discussing with you. Execute quickly. The elders of the five sects dared not speak in anger. Yet with Lei Zhenhai holding Yi Kangyuan's appointment, how could they dare to defy? They could only swallow their indignation and console their disciples. Endure for a few days, the sect masters will arrive here later. By then, it should be Vice Pavilion Master Yi personally commanding. The disciples felt deeply aggrieved. Who knew when that would be? Perhaps even after this month, Yi Kangyuan would still not come to take command. Would they be oppressed all this time? Jiang Fan frowned deeply. This sect master Lei certainly couldn't be called fair. However, now was not the time to fight for merit. He cupped his hands and said, "Sect Master Lei, I have urgent military intelligence to report." Lei Zhenhai raised his eyes and looked over. He glanced faintly and said indifferently, "You are that disciple called Jiang Fan, aren't you? Smart. Dissatisfied with my arrangements, using military intelligence as an excuse to resist. Are you going to say that a group of demon beasts is attacking and that I should be cautious or something?" Everyone was initially startled by Jiang Fan's words. They really thought it was urgent military information. When Lei Zhenhai spoke, they all felt relieved. One had to admit, Jiang Fan's mind worked quite fast, knowing how to twist words to express dissatisfaction. Jiang Fan frowned and said in a deep voice, "I dare not speak lightly. There is indeed a group of demon beasts attacking just 400 miles away. They would arrive in as little as 4 two-hour periods or at most 1 day. Heh. Lei Zhenhai showed a look of I knew it. How coincidental, I say there are demon beasts attacking, and there really are demon beasts attacking." Jiang Fan cupped his hands and said, "Military intelligence is urgent, I dare not hide it." He secretly rejoiced. Fortunately, he infiltrated the enemy forces and captured a zombie-like creature. Otherwise, with Lei Zhenhai's overbearing personality, he could talk himself hoarse, and the other party wouldn't believe it. He would even accuse him of disrupting military morale. "Humph, stubborn," Lei Zhenhai snorted coldly. "A mere disciple dares to discuss important military matters. Are you trying to challenge my authority and shake military morale?" Jiang Fan sneered inwardly. He guessed it right. What a person this was. He no longer showed politeness and said, "Whether I am disrupting military morale, Sect Master Lei, do not rush to label me. Let's see the evidence I brought back first." With a flash, he turned back to retrieve the zombie-like creature from the foot of Jishin. Lei Zhenhai's face darkened. Up to this point, he realized that Jiang Fan might not be lying after all. Otherwise, how could he dare to bring evidence for confrontation? But wasn't this a slap to his face? Moments ago, he had grandly and swiftly issued orders that were not open to question. Now, Jiang Fan revealed urgent military intelligence, forcing him to change his decision. Giving orders and then changing them. What would happen to his prestige as the commander? Evidence, huh? Lei Zhenhai sneered inwardly, just caught a demon beast as evidence. But the demon territory has countless demon beasts. How can you say it is from the demon beast army? I won't change my orders. I'll wait for the commotion to pass, then change the orders later, having made up his mind. Lei Zhenhai returned to his indifferent expression. Later, no matter what kind of demon beast Jiang Fan brought, he would not acknowledge it as evidence. He would also accuse Jiang Fan of disrupting military morale, to set an example. To show all elders and disciples the consequences of questioning his authority. Not long after, Jiang Fan returned, carrying a demon beast as large as an elephant. Its body was covered with a black cloth. Judging by the struggling movements, it was undoubtedly alive. Lei Zhenhai frowned and said, "Why cover it with cloth? Is there something shameful to see?" Jiang Fan looked around at the elders and disciples present and said, "Please prepare yourselves mentally. Whatever you see later, do not panic." The dead corpse army had not appeared for many years. Suddenly showing it to everyone, Jiang Fan worried it would cause chaos, hence the cloth covering, to give everyone a mental preparation. This action aroused everyone's curiosity, especially among the elders. Ming Yulian, the great elder of the Heavenly Sound sect, was also present. She harbored resentment toward Jiang Fan. She said indifferently, "Pointless. What great ordeals have we elders not seen? A mere demon beast, can it scare us?" Li Qingfeng's lips twitched as he scolded softly, "Stop being so mysterious." Come on. If he said some demon beast could scare inexperienced disciples, that might be believable. Scare the elders? What a joke. Jiang Fan said no more. He pulled off the black cloth and said, "This is what I discovered in the demon territory, the demon beast army. Please, Sect Master Lei, all elders judge." Lei Zhenhai sneered. Without even looking at the demon beast, he said sternly, "This counts as evidence." However, as soon as his words fell, the disciples beside him let out terrified screams and scrambled back in fear. Even the elders' faces changed dramatically. Those with strong composure managed to stand still, but those with weaker composure also panickedly retreated with the disciples. Lei Zhenhai was taken aback. What's happening? It's merely a demon beast. Why are even the elders so frightened? When his gaze fell on the demon beast in front of Jiang Fan, his heart pounded violently and his pupils shrank. What is this? He saw a small demon beast the size of an elephant, emitting a putrid odor. Its entire body was decayed. Most of its fur had rotted away, revealing a bloody skeleton. A few remnants of its internal organs hung loosely, ready to fall off at any moment. It was clearly a corpse of a demon beast that had been dead for a long time. The eerie thing was, it was still alive, and struggling desperately. Ming Yulian's eyes widened as she hastily stepped back, knocking over several disciples, and shouted in horror. "What is this?" Li Qingfeng and Zhao Wuji, the two male elders, were also terrified, their expressions constantly changing. "Jiang Fan, what is this thing? Is it dead or alive?" Jiang Fan cupped his hands and said, "It is a dead corpse puppet." Many disciples were still in confusion, but the elders' faces all changed color. "A dead corpse puppet from ancient times?" An elder exclaimed in fear. Wen Hongyao looked at the dead corpse puppet with extreme trepidation and said, "Jiang Fan, how many of these have you found? If there are not many, we elders can immediately take the initiative and eliminate the threat entirely." The other elders came to their senses. All of them showed expressions of fear. Who knows how powerful these evil creatures are? It's best to take the initiative and eradicate the threat. Jiang Fan shook his head, took a deep breath, and said, "Just relying on you elders alone is far from enough, because there aren't just a few nor dozens of dead corpse puppets, but an entire army of dead corpses. Their numbers are endless and uncountable." Hiss. Someone took a sharp intake of breath in terror. Fear seemed to spread like an infection. Almost all the disciples' faces filled with fear. Swarms of these immortal evil creatures. Even among the elders, the fear was spreading. A dead corpse army? Could it be that the demon priest has been mobilized? The demon priest only appears when the demon race faces extinction. The demon race is planning to wage a decisive battle with us. Can we withstand them with just our forces? Some elders were the first to think of retreating. More elders turned their gazes to Lei Zhenhai. As the commander, he had to make a decision, fight or retreat. Lei Zhenhai swallowed lightly. Even he was feeling quite fearful. If they resisted with just their forces, it would likely be a life-and-death battle. Seeing that he was unable to make a decision for a long time, Li Qingfeng's heart sank. Lei Zhenhai must have been scared too, afraid to fight. "Jiang Fan, first give a detailed report on the military intelligence you have gathered." Li Qingfeng gave orders on his behalf. The elders and disciples all looked over. Indeed, they needed to understand the specifics of the dead corpse army first. Jiang Fan nodded and said, "Based on what I have detected, the number of dead corpse army is unknown, but it is at least over 10,000. The commander, as everyone guessed, is the demon priest, who appears to be an 18-year-old girl with the strength of the 9th layer of core formation. She has a mount transformed from the corpse of a nascent soul realm 9-headed python. Its strength falls between the 9th layer of core formation perfection and the demon emperor. Over 10,000. Everyone felt stifled and deeply despaired. They had barely over 200 people. How could they contend with a dead corpse army of over 10,000? Knowing that the demon priest was of the 9th layer of core formation made them even more desperate. The strongest among them was merely Lei Zhenhai, at the 8th layer of core formation. When they heard there was also a dead corpse puppet transformed from the corpse of a nascent soul realm python, they fell into complete despair. Ming Yulian held her head, her eyes unfocused. "It's over. There's no need to fight this battle. Unless we mobilize all the martial artists from the 9th sect, there's no chance of victory." Lei Zhenhai's body swayed as well. He had painstakingly used his connection with Yi Kangyuan of the True Thunder sect to gain command of the Boundary Mountain, hoping to secure some advantages for the disciples of the True Thunder sect. He also hoped to gain some fame and benefits for himself. Yet he encountered a dead corpse army, something that only happened in ancient times. What kind of bad luck was this? He looked at Jiang Fan unwillingly and questioned, Are you sure everything you said is true? How could you know the demon priest is of the 9th layer of core formation? You even know her appearance. Did you see her? This question made many elders reconsider. Indeed, how did Jiang Fan know the details about the demon priest? Not only did I see her, Jiang Fan pointed to the dead corpse puppet on the ground. To capture this, I was discovered by the demon priest and chased all the way to the foot of Boundary Mountain. I almost lost my life to her. What? Not to mention the disciples. The elders were all astonished. Lei Zhenhai further questioned, "Are you saying you escaped from the pursuit of a 9th layer core formation demon priest? How was that possible?" None of the elders present could accomplish that. Even Lei Zhenhai, with all his means as the sect master, couldn't guarantee his safety. Could a mere disciple like Jiang Fan escape after being discovered? Jiang Fan said no more. He took out a delicate necklace made of crystal bones. When Hong Yao immediately recognized it and exclaimed, "A jade bone necklace woven by the demon priest lineage. Jiang Fan, you were really pursued by the demon priest. Not only did you escape, but you also stole her inherited treasure." This revelation caused an uproar. Everyone looked at Jiang Fan with eyes as if staring at a monster. Jiang Fan smiled bitterly and said, "Don't even mention it. My losses weren't small. This necklace merely compensates for some of the losses." When Hong Yao's mouth twitched, her eyes glowing as she stared at the jade bone necklace. "You brat, don't pretend to be humble after gaining an advantage. Do you know what a jade bone necklace is?" Her words were interrupted by Lei Zhenhai. He said gravely, "If this is the case, we won't be able to hold Boundary Mountain." As the commander, his pessimism was evident. The mood of the elders and disciples from various sects was easy to imagine. The crowd became agitated. Some disciples were already packing up, preparing to retreat. Before the battle even began, they were already disheartened. This was what Jiang Fan feared most. He quickly said, "Everyone, please listen to me. Although our numbers are vastly different, it doesn't mean we can't fight. These dead corpses are strange but not very strong, and they're evil creatures. Lightning and fire are their natural enemies." Hearing this, the commotion subsided slightly. Lei Zhenhai felt a bit embarrassed. He had made decisions repeatedly, and this Jiang Fan kept opposing him. Where was his dignity? "It's easy to say," Lei Zhenhai said, "even if we can barely handle ordinary evil creatures. Who will deal with the 9-headed giant python you mentioned? You or me?" That was a puppet transformed from the corpse of a nascent soul realm creature. Just thinking about its terrifying power made Lei Zhenhai's scalp tingle. Jiang Fan looked disappointedly at Lei Zhenhai and said bluntly, "If Sect Master Lei lacks the confidence, I have no issue dealing with the 9-headed giant python. After all, I defeated it once. I might be able to defeat it a second time." What? The crowd fell silent for a moment. Everyone doubted their ears. Jiang Fan defeated a puppet from the corpse of a nascent soul creature. Lei Zhenhai's expression froze. He immediately rebuked sharply, "Just you, a mere disciple." Jiang Fan responded calmly, "The younger generation has said things imbued with yang energy can restrain evil spirits. I happen to have some means to suppress it, that's all." The elders, who were filled with despair, couldn't help but regain their composure. A dead corpse puppet made from the demon emperor's body, even a mere disciple could handle it. There's no reason they, as elders, should be helpless, right? Li Qingfeng stared at the little demon beast struggling on the ground. He casually threw a fire talisman of the 1st or 2nd layer of foundation establishment at it. The low-tier fire talisman, which was originally unremarkable and not very powerful, once it started burning, immediately caused the little demon beast to scream in agony. A large amount of deathly aura steamed out visibly from its body. In a moment, it turned into white bones on the spot, motionless. The disciples erupted in astonished exclamations. Liang Feiyin exclaimed, "So weak! A mere fire talisman can kill it." Fu Keohun also took a slight breath. "I thought this evil thing was so formidable. It turns out to be so fragile when encountering things that counter it." Xia Keoj said, "Although this is a little demon beast after transformation, it should have at least the strength of the 5th or 6th layer of foundation establishment. If it can be suppressed so easily, as long as we have enough things to counter them, then we need not fear those high-tier dead corpse puppets." At this moment, the once despairing crowd felt a surge of renewed confidence. Everyone looked at Lei Zhenhai, soliciting his decision as the sect master. Lei Zhenhai was still reluctant to fight. Besides the 9-headed giant python, there was also a 9th layer core formation demon priest among them. If she made a move, who would oppose her? However, knowing they had the power to fight if he, as the commander, retreated with the army. The Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion would hold Yi Kangyuan accountable, and he would bear the brunt. Not to mention him, Lei Zhenhai. He would definitely be publicly executed by the Heavenly Thunder sect. He glared angrily at Jiang Fan. It was all this kid's fault. Without him, there wouldn't be so many issues. Gritting his teeth, he said, all sects begin immediately inventorying things imbued with yang energy and prepare for battle. The crowd felt heavy-hearted. They were finally facing a direct battle against the dead corpse army. Without reinforcements, their manpower was seriously insufficient. This battle's outcome was uncertain and could be deadly. They immediately began to inventory their usable items. The elders were relatively well off, carrying some fire talismans and other such items. The disciples, however, looked troubled. Few disciples possessed fire talismans. Lei Zhenhai said, if there are no fire talismans, then use fire to attack. But this still troubled the disciples. After all, they were in a boundless snowfield. There was nothing but ice and snow, not even a single blade of grass. How could they use fire to attack without anything to burn? Would they have to burn their own clothes? Even before the battle started, they faced a huge problem. Although some elders generously shared their fire talismans with their sect's disciples, it was still a drop in the bucket. Each person received 2 or 3 fire talismans, which were far from enough. And in direct confrontation, how many attacks from the dead corpse army could they withstand? Lei Zhenhai also frowned. The battle preparations were too rushed. The shortage of war materials was fatal. Sect Master Lei, I think we should retreat. The third elder of the giant sect said calmly. The disciples of the giant sect, lacking spiritual power, could not use fire talismans. Without combustible materials, they couldn't even use fire attacks. Would they fight barehanded? Ming Yulian also said, Sect Master Lei, it's not that we don't want to fight, but the timing and environmental conditions are all against us. If we retreat now, I believe the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion will consider our situation. Lei Zhenhai wanted to retreat more than anyone else, but he didn't think the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion would be lenient if they voluntarily gave up Boundary Mountain, allowing thousands of dead corpse troops to invade human territory. He gritted his teeth and shouted, military orders are as firm as mountains. All sect disciples abandon illusions and fight to the death. If we win this battle, our sect will petition the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion to distribute 200 merit points to each person. Additionally, those who achieve a first-class merit will be rewarded with 1,000 merit points. Second-class merit will be rewarded with 500 merit points. Third-class merit will be rewarded with 300 merit points. For the elders of each sect, our sect will also petition to grant 10 dust heart pills to each elder. Those who achieve a first-class merit will be granted a 5-year advanced study opportunity at the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. Second-class merit will be rewarded with a 2-year advanced study opportunity. Third-class merit will be rewarded with a 6-month advanced study opportunity. After saying this, he took out a crystal magic artifact and threw it into the clouds above. This is the Sky Monitoring Crystal. It can record all movements of the entire battlefield. At that time, everyone's performance in killing the enemy will be recorded truthfully. Whether you can achieve great opportunities will depend on each of you. The elders were highly motivated. Dust Heart Pills were unique spirit pills for warriors in the core formation realm, capable of enhancing cultivation, and could only be refined by the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion Master. Each year, only a small amount was distributed to the 9 sect. Each elder received, at most, 1 pill per year. Consuming one was equivalent to 6 months of cultivation. Now, receiving 10 pills at once was a guaranteed breakthrough for elders in the mid-stage of core formation. For those in the late stage of core formation, it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for a breakthrough. However, the most important reward was yet to come. Advanced studies at the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. The abundance of resources at the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion could be inferred from their current merit reward repository. Compared to the 9 sect, the difference was like heaven and earth. If one could achieve first-class merit and receive 5 years of advanced study at the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion, it was unimaginable what realm they would reach after such an opportunity. But compared to the elders' excitement, it was difficult for the disciples' spirits to be uplifted. Although the rewards were extremely tempting and enticing, the fact remained that they were lacking materials. These rewards were something they might earn but never live to enjoy, seeing the disciples' low morale. Lei Zhenhai saw this and felt anxious. His rallying attempt did not achieve the desired effect. He could only look around and ask, Does anyone have extra supplies, or can anyone find flammable materials in a short time? Our sect will heavily reward them." After a brief pause, he pulled out a broken, cyan-white token with numerous seals from his bosom. Its entire surface was as smooth as jade, with fleeting thunderbolts forming 3 intermittently visible characters inside. Thunder Extension Order. Lei Zhenhai looked at the elders, placing his hope in them. This Thunder Extension Order should be familiar to you all. Whoever can provide sufficient supplies will be lent this order for a month. If they can comprehend the supreme path, they will rise to great heights. The elders showed expressions of shock. Their eyes were filled with intense desire. Even Li Qingfeng was very tempted, but he smiled bitterly, saying, "Sect Master Lei must be joking. If we had such supplies, we would bring them out without needing Sect Master Lei to ask." The other elders also looked regretfully. Where could they find such supplies? Even with space storage devices, it was impossible to carry all the necessary combustible materials for a large-scale battle. Jiang Fan also felt a surge of desire. The image of Lei Zhenhai transforming into a thunderbolt and descending from the sky had greatly shocked him. If he could obtain the Thunder Extension Order, maybe he could learn the profound technique of transforming into a thunderbolt like Lei Zhenhai. Unfortunately, he had no combustible materials either, not even a single fire talisman. "Hey, kid, aren't you tempted by the Thunder Extension Order? It's from the Outer Realm Divine Sect, containing the techniques of the 10,000 Tribulations Holy Temple." The evil spirit in his bosom suddenly whispered into Jiang Fan's ear. Jiang Fan spread his empty hands and whispered, "Where am I supposed to find materials, let alone sufficient ones?" Seeing Lei Zhenhai about to put away the Thunder Extension Order, the evil spirit urgently said, "If you can't, I can." Fan was taken aback. Could it be that this black mirror is also a space storage device? Or is it a giant space storage device? "You explain first," the evil spirit hastily said. "Inside the Great Wall there are battle supplies left from ancient times. Not only do we have wood and fuel, but also large rejection spurs, ranged crossbows, sky-shaking thunder, and so on. These were used to fight the ancient giants back then. They are just perfect to use against the dead corpse army." Jiang Fan raised his eyebrows in surprise. "Are you sure?" the evil spirit boasted. "Do you think a late-stage nascent soul cultivator knows nothing? Just based on my 200 years of life, I can be called a living history book. The history you current people rarely know, I know it all." Jiang Fan was speechless. This guy, give him an inch and he takes a mile. If you keep talking nonsense, Lei Zhenhai might retract his decision. The evil spirit swiftly said, "When the old war ended, many battle supplies were unused. The demon race suggested splitting them, but a sage proposed, what if the ancient giants return? So after discussions among several sages, they collectively created a giant space inside the Great Wall. All supplies were sealed inside, along with a time-freezing seal. Those supplies should still be perfectly preserved without any decay. Such a hidden history, if the evil spirit hadn't mentioned it, no one would have known. Do you know the location?" Jiang Fan asked quickly. The evil spirit nodded. "Of course, it's just 50 miles west of here, towards the Great Wall. It should be easy to find." Jiang Fan hesitated no longer. He decisively said, "Sect Master Lei, I might be able to find enough battle supplies, but I need some time to confirm." "Oh," Lei Zhenhai, who was deeply disappointed, suddenly perked up. But hearing it was Jiang Fan, he became disappointed again. "Now is not the time for your nonsense," Lei Zhenhai lightly rebuked. Jiang Fan said, "In the face of a great battle, how dare I mess around? However, I'm not sure. I need to go and try. If I truly find enough supplies, I ask Sect Master Lei to keep his promise." "Oh." Seeing his confident demeanor, Lei Zhenhai's eyes flickered slightly. He said, "All right, I'll give you 2 hours. If you find them, the Thunder Extension Order will be yours on the spot. If you don't, I won't punish you, but you'll be the first to charge the front line to save face." Jiang Fan frowned, failing and still getting punished. What kind of logic is that? So if he doesn't search, nothing will happen. He understood instantly. This was an opportunity Lei Zhenhai used to deal with him. Previous confrontations left Lei Zhenhai without face. This was disguised revenge. After a brief thought, Jiang Fan nodded. "All right, I agree." Anyway, if he really couldn't find the supplies, he had to go to the front lines regardless, with the dead corpse army like an endless beast tide. No disciple could stay at the back. First or last, he had to go. No one could avoid it. Li Qingfeng, Wen Hongyao, and Zhao Wuji were all furious. Lei Zhenhai was clearly bullying. But then they realized if the supplies were not found, all disciples would have to face the demon beasts head-on. Being first or not was already irrelevant, so they encouraged him. If you can find them, great. If not, it's okay. I'll rush out with you. Li Qingfeng sighed. He couldn't bear to see his 2 female disciples lose their husbands before his eyes. Elders, rest assured. Jiang Fan cupped his hands, then secretly asked the evil spirit for detailed information about the space. After receiving the specific location and entrance, just as he was about to set off, the evil spirit hesitated and reminded. However, the space designed by the sage might not be easy to enter. There might be some danger, too. Jiang Fan felt a bit uneasy. He had thought of this, too. If it could be opened easily, it would have been opened ages ago. The difficulty to open must be there. There might even be some danger. Going alone was somewhat unsafe. Getting injured or losing life wasn't the main concern, but he might damage some magical treasures. If only there was a smart, capable partner, no, a like-minded companion. Jiang Fan? At this moment, a frantic, sharp scream came from afar at the foot of Boundary Mountain. So sharp was the voice, full of hatred. It made the ice and snow on Boundary Mountain tremble slightly. Everyone looked in the direction of the voice, puzzled. A woman in a wine-red long dress, charging with murderous intent. Her graceful long dress was stained with blood and slime, her flowing black hair clumped and sticky, and her aura was chaotic. Her elegant face was replaced with boundless anger. Her peach blossom eyes shot out flames. Xia Caoj quietly walked up to Jiang Fan and clicked his tongue. "Uncle, what did you do to her?" Liang Feiyan looked at Jiang Fan strangely. "She looks like you are sworn enemies. Junior brother Jiang, did you lose control and do something to her?" Jiang Fan rolled his eyes at her and asked back. "If she let you touch her, would you dare?" Liang Feiyan remembered the woman's viciousness. She couldn't help but shudder. "Then what happened to her?" Jiang Fan guiltily rubbed his nose and said, "It's nothing really. Just gave her a little gift. I didn't expect she wouldn't like it." Gift? Under the amazed gazes of the crowd, Wu Manyu charged up Boundary Mountain with murderous intent, not fearing facing the 9 sect disciples covering the mountain. She screamed hysterically. "Jiang Fan, come out. I'm going to kill you." The crowd automatically parted, revealing Jiang Fan's figure. When Wu Manyu saw it was indeed Jiang Fan, her eyes filled with even more hatred. The 5th layer of core formation spiritual power burst forth. With no words, she drew a dagger and charged. Swish! Before she got close. When Hangyao stood before Jiang Fan with a cold face, her strong spiritual power directly repelling Wu Manyu. She glanced at Wu Manyu, coldly snorting. "A disciple of the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. In front of our 9 sect elders, you dare yell about killing our disciple. Who gave you the courage?" Wu Manyu staggered and fell on her bottom. She felt wronged, her eyes reddened with hatred. "Do you know what he did to me? He used me to distract the demon priest. I almost got killed by the demon priest. Don't you think I should take revenge?" When Hangyao turned her surprised gaze back to Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan coughed and said, "Elder Wen and all 9 sect elders. Here's what happened. Senior Sister Wu went with me to capture the dead corpse puppet, but was discovered by the demon priest. I took the dead corpse puppet and tried to distract the demon priest, but for some reason, the demon priest kept chasing Senior Sister Wu. Now saying I used her to distract the demon priest, I am wronged as well." "Shameless!" Wu Manyu, enraged, got up and stormed towards Jiang Fan. "You injured the demon priest from a distance. When you realized the priest remembered the puppet's aura, you shoved the puppet to me, making me get chased down. Now you have the nerve to say you are wronged?" Hearing this, the elders and disciples' faces showed doubt. Saying Jiang Fan shifted the trouble east, they might believe it. But saying Jiang Fan injured the demon priest? That was too unbelievable. Hangyao's face darkened and she scolded, "Nonsense! Believe it or not, I will discipline you on behalf of your elders. What kind of person is this? Even when picking a fight, you can't just make up random excuses, right?" Even Lei Zhenhai couldn't stand it anymore. He frowned and said, "Tianji Pavilion disciples do not cause trouble. If you have grievances, the sect will address them on your behalf. But to accuse the junior brother of our 9 sect of injuring a demon priest is too absurd. Leave Boundary Mountain immediately, or if you continue to disrupt the battlefield, the sect will severely punish you." No one could believe it at all. Jiang Fan could injure a demon priest from a distance, and a 9th layer core formation demon priest at that. It was clear that Wu Manyu was slandering Jiang Fan, intentionally picking a fight. Li Qingfeng showed a displeased expression. "You Tianji Pavilion disciples have caused enough trouble in Boundary Mountain already. Now, with the dead corpse army about to invade, this is not the time for your mischief. Leave at once. Lu Ziyunian was also extremely annoyed with the Tianji Pavilion disciples. A bunch of troublemakers, barely handling any serious business while causing plenty of trouble. At the critical moment of life and death, they are still trying to slander our 9-sect disciples. Outrageous. The many disciples who had suffered from the Tianji Pavilion disciples stealing their merits glared angrily. Sick of them, a bunch of guys who only create chaos. If they have that capability, they should go to the demon territory and kill a few demon beasts instead of causing trouble here. How dare they slander our junior brother Jiang? Get lost. Wu Manyu was infuriated. Clearly, she was telling the truth, yet no one dared to believe it. Everyone thought she was slandering Jiang Fan. She clenched her fists in anger, her face steaming with rage. I am telling the truth. That demon priest said himself that he was injured by Jiang Fan from a distance with spiritual. Senior Sister Wu, there may be some misunderstanding between us. Jiang Fan interrupted her. Previously, when I seized your puppet flag, it was for the greater good, but it was indeed inappropriate. Your resentment towards me is understandable. Everyone suddenly understood. No wonder Wu Manyu would slander Jiang Fan. So this was the root of it. This confirmed that Wu Manyu was slandering. Wu Manyu's chest heaved with anger and she gritted her teeth, yelling, "Don't think you can talk your way out of this." Jiang Fan honestly said, "Am I not admitting my initial mistake? How about I compensate you?" Wu Manyu laughed in anger. Compensate with what? 50 demon cores that are nowhere to be found. Do you think I would believe you again? She no longer believed anything Jiang Fan said. Jiang Fan calmly replied, No, you misunderstand. This time it's real compensation right here and now." Wu Manyu glared at Jiang Fan. But she didn't shout or threaten anymore. She didn't expect to really kill Jiang Fan. Not to mention that she couldn't beat him, even if she could, this cunning guy. If he was outmatched, he would definitely hide behind his elders. Her shouting and making a fuss were essentially for compensation. "Say something I can believe," Wu Manyu said fiercely. Jiang Fan smiled and said, "Sect Master Lei just issued a reward. If someone can find sufficient strategic materials, they can borrow the Thunder Extension Order for a month. I happen to know of a place that might have such materials. I intended to take the credit for myself, but given the deep misunderstanding between us, Senior Sister Wu, so I am willing to share this credit, and then you and I can both study the Thunder Extension Order." What? The Thunder Extension Order? Wu Manyu looked at Lei Zhenhai in shock. Even her master had mentioned several times that Lei Zhenhai had encountered a great fortune. He had found a legendary piece of the broken Thunder Extension Order. It contained profound Thunder Path techniques. Unfortunately, she had never had the chance to see it. Now, was Lei Zhenhai actually offering it as a reward? This made Wu Manyu's heart race. But having been tricked once, Wu Manyu dared not easily believe Jiang Fan's words. "What if it can't be found?" Jiang Fan said. "If it can't be found, I will be sent to be the first to charge into the dead corpse army and die honorably on the battlefield. You are only assisting me, the punishment won't fall on you." Wu Manyu's eyes flickered. The implication was clear. If strategic materials were found, she would share in the incredible reward. If not, Jiang Fan would take the blame alone and it wouldn't affect her. To be safe, she clasped her hands to Lei Zhenhai and asked, "Sect Master Lei, is what Jiang Fan said true?" Lei Zhenhai didn't hesitate to say, "Our sect has indeed issued such a reward, and Jiang Fan has indeed accepted it. If he can't find it, he deserves to be punished. As for you, not being one of our 9-sect disciples, you are not under our jurisdiction. If the search fails, the punishment won't fall on you." With Lei Zhenhai's confirmation, Wu Manyu finally believed Jiang Fan. Just a moment ago, she was full of murderous intent. Now her face blossomed into a smile. "Since junior brother Jiang has shown sincerity in resolving our feud, I would be ungracious not to accept. Regardless of the outcome, our feud ends here. Senior sister will no longer make things difficult for you." Watching Wu Manyu change her face so quickly, the well-experienced Zai Liushu clicked his tongue and said, "Such a woman is really not for everyone to handle. Only junior brother Jiang could make her suffer so greatly." Liang Feiyin gloated, "And now he is coaxing her to be happy in all sorts of ways." Having dealt with Jiang Fan 3 times before, Fu Keohun snorted, "How do you know junior brother Jiang isn't setting her up for a bigger loss?" Xia Keoj nodded slightly. With her understanding of Jiang Fan, if this was an easy task, how could Jiang Fan overlook those around him? Instead offering the benefits to an outsider, this trip likely wouldn't be safe. Jiang Fan didn't dare delay. To avoid Wu Manyu coming to her senses, he said, "The reward task is only for 2 hours. We don't have much time, let's leave immediately." Wu Manyu couldn't wait for this trip to start. She immediately channeled her spiritual power to cleanse her body of filth, restoring her vibrant and charming aura. With her fiery and voluptuous figure and beautiful face, even her charming, almond-shaped eyes made men look at her longingly. Immediately, she captivated the hearts of the young male disciples present. She swayed her hips, walking gracefully to Jiang Fan's side. Affectionately holding his arm, she even rubbed her chest against his arm. Breathing softly, her eyes filled with seduction, she said, "Junior brother, I will rely on you this time." This scene made the male disciples present see red with jealousy. Liang Feiyan grasped his treasured blade at his waist, gritting his teeth. "My 40-meter-long blade can hardly be controlled." Fu Keohun was also speechless. Junior brother Jiang may be setting a trap, but he is definitely enjoying some benefits amidst the sudden jealousy. Jiang Fan rolled his eyes and quickly withdrew his hand, speeding off towards the west of the Great Wall. Wu Manyu gave a meaningful smile, and then quickly followed. A cup of tea later, Jiang Fan stood at the place the evil spirit had mentioned. This section of the wall looked no different from the others. No clues were evident. Anyone passing by would not stop here. "This is the place. I can already sense the faint spatial fluctuations." The evil spirit let out a slight breath, saying, "Kid, once you get the Thunder Extension order, don't forget to let me have a glance at it. I am also curious about what techniques are inside this Thunder Extension order." Jiang Fan nodded. "No problem." "Where is the entrance?" the evil spirit said. "Do you see that protruding brick on the wall? Press it in and the space will react, revealing the entrance." However, it didn't continue. Jiang Fan understood tacitly. This is where the back-covering man comes into play. Wu Manyu's movement technique was far slower than Jiang Fan's. After quite a while, she finally caught up, panting heavily. "Is this the place?" Wu Manyu looked around, puzzled. The area was empty, completely devoid of any signs that it held strategic resources. Jiang Fan said, "I once read an ancient book. After the War of the Ancient Giants ended, the sages hid the remaining strategic resources near this place. Let's search together and see if we have a chance. Whoever finds it first gets to read the Thunder Extension order first." Saying that, Jiang Fan immediately began searching for any suspicious mechanisms. Wu Manyu was invigorated. She was extremely eager for the cultivation techniques on the Thunder Extension order, and who got to read it first or last was not a matter of sequence, but rather whether the latter had any chance to read it at all. If Jiang Fan read it first and kept the Thunder Extension order, what was she to do? She couldn't defeat him, and they were surrounded by Jiang Fan's elders. She had to seize the opportunity first. She quickly looked around, her eyes scanning the surroundings anxiously. Suddenly, she noticed a protruding brick wall. Compared to the neatly stacked brick walls around it, with no gaps even for a blade to fit through, this protruding brick wall seemed very conspicuous. She was about to walk over, when her eyes shifted. No, such an obvious protrusion, how could Jiang Fan have missed it after being here for so long? Could it be that he sensed some danger, and pretended not to see it? Wanting me to step on the trap for him, thinking of this, she sneered coldly in her heart. Does he think Wu Manyu is so easy to deceive? She quickly thought of a plan and said, "Hey, junior brother Jiang, this brick wall is sticking out. Could this be the mechanism you mentioned?" She wanted to see how Jiang Fan would act. If he pretended to be surprised but did not dare to approach, it would mean the mechanism was definitely problematic. If he pretended to rush over, it would likely be to lure her into triggering the mechanism. In any case, she would not fall for it. Hearing this, Jiang Fan quickly turned around. His eyes followed Wu Manyu's finger, showing a trace of excitement in his eyes, but he quickly covered it up. He said nonchalantly, "It's nothing special, just a protruding brick." But his body stealthily moved towards the protruding brick. This sneaky move of the weasel trying to steal the chicken made Wu Manyu pause. It was completely different from what she had anticipated. Could it be that Jiang Fan really hadn't noticed this protruding brick earlier? Was she overthinking it? With these thoughts shifting in her mind, she restrained her impulse and continued to probe. "Is that so? Why do I feel like it's the mechanism? Let me try it." She extended her hand towards the brick. If Jiang Fan were to back away at this moment, it would 100% confirm that the mechanism was problematic and that Jiang Fan was setting her up. If he still came over at the same nonchalant pace, it would show he was acting. Boom, but suddenly her vision darkened. Before she could react, the 5 magnetic Yuan mountain rammed straight at her. With a bang, Wu Manyu was sent flying. Both shocked and angry, she shouted, "What are you doing?" Jiang Fan laughed as he retracted the 5 magnetic Yuan mountain, cupping his hands. "Sorry, senior sister Wu. All's fair in war. I found this mechanism first." Immediately, he swiftly pressed down on the mechanism. Wu Manyu was dumbfounded. She almost wanted to slap herself. "Wu Manyu, you are too clever for your own good. You clearly found the mechanism first, but ended up handing the opportunity to Jiang Fan." The more she thought about it, the angrier she became. How could she do something so foolish? Seeing Jiang Fan about to activate the mechanism, while she had been thrown several dozen feet away, far too late to contest it, she gritted her teeth and decisively took out a palm-sized jade person. On its forehead was a drop of her essence blood. On its chest, her name was written. With a forceful throw, the jade person hit Jiang Fan. It was a magical scene. The jade person transformed into Wu Manyu out of thin air, while Wu Manyu's previous spot turned into a jade person. Wu Manyu sneered, "Sorry, senior sister saw this first." She raised her palm, sending the unprepared Jiang Fan flying away. She then decisively pressed down on the brick mechanism. However, she was slightly stunned. Even though she didn't use much force, Jiang Fan had been sent flying far away. Upon closer inspection, he had been using his movement technique to accelerate backward, distancing himself from her and the mechanism. Wu Manyu's heart skipped a beat. Had she, after all, fallen into a trap? She tried to take her hand back, but it was too late. With a crack immediately, a terrifying, nascent, soul-level destructive blue light exploded, emanating in a radial pattern, sweeping across a radius of 30 feet. It appeared quickly, and disappeared just as quickly. Not even a tenth of a second passed. Just a flash, but Wu Manyu, who had been pressing the mechanism, her body turned into ashes like burnt paper money. All turned to dust, blown away by the wind. Jiang Fan from afar was shocked and broke out in a cold sweat. A nascent soul strike? It was that dangerous, the evil spirit understood. This mechanism wasn't designed to kill enemies. It was set up to prevent birds and beasts from accidentally triggering the mechanism and exposing the space. If it was meant to kill enemies with the sage's strength, the mechanism's power wouldn't be just this much. While those words were true, for the human clan of the 9-sect land, it was indeed an extremely dangerous mechanism. Fortunately, a scapegoat was found. Otherwise, no matter how many tricks Jiang Fan had, he couldn't have blocked that strike just now. Crack, suddenly in the distance, the small jade person with blood on its forehead and Wu Manyu's name on its chest exploded. Amidst the shards, Wu Manyu's figure reappeared. Her face was pale, clutching her violently beating chest, crouching on the ground, gasping for breath. Jiang Fan wasn't too surprised. This woman had escaped the pursuit of the demon priest, proving she was not simple at all. It was expected that she would survive this. He clapped his hands and praised, "Senior sister Wu is truly skilled. Junior brother is impressed." Hearing these words, Wu Manyu suddenly raised her head, drew her dagger, and without a word, charged at Jiang Fan. She shouted, "You damned thing! I knew you had no good intentions inviting me here." She had lost another life-saving magical treasure. This was a substitute puppet that was as valuable as a space scroll. Jiang Fan, half smiling, took out the 5 magnetic Yuan mountain. "I don't understand, senior sister Wu. You struck me to seize the mechanism. How am I the one with ill intentions?" Wu Manyu gritted her teeth and charged at him regardless. She couldn't explain the convoluted twists, but she and Jiang Fan both knew very well if it was a setup or not. Just as the two were about to fight, there was a buzz. The city wall beneath their feet twisted eerily, like a still lake surface, rippled by a small boat passing through, creating waves. Then in the twisting, a dark, dull hole with no gloss appeared. Surrounding it was the power of space. It was clearly the entrance of that space. Wu Manyu's face showed a hint of joy. This place indeed had a hidden space left over from ancient times. The ancient war. All races had put all their resources into that war. The leftover war equipment, if placed in the present time, would be world-destroying treasures. Jiang Fan stared at the dark entrance, seemingly muttering to himself, "Will there be amazing treasures inside? The war equipment that could kill ancient giants, how powerful must it be?" Wu Manyu, who had been full of anticipation, was instantly doused with a bucket of cold water, calming down. If it were someone else saying this, it would be fine. But Jiang Fan saying it to her, it was a trap, a snare. She gritted her silver teeth and said, "Bastard, trying to trick me into scouting again? Keep dreaming." With a swift motion, she retreated a good distance backward. As long as Jiang Fan didn't go in, she definitely wouldn't go deeper. Is it necessary to be like this? Jiang Fan was a bit speechless. Wu Manyu stood at a distance, snorting. Once bitten by a snake, a decade afraid of rope. I have been bitten by you twice. Thinking of the lost Jade people, her heart bled once again. She wished she could give herself a slap, to be tricked by the same person twice. It was a great humiliation for Wu Manyu. Jiang Fan said, "All right, then you wait outside." He directly jumped into the dark entrance of the void space, without any precaution against traps. Because if the sages wanted to prevent outsiders from entering with their sky-reaching divine skills, outsiders wouldn't even dream of finding the entrance. No need to set traps to harm people. The sages wouldn't lose face like that. As expected, Jiang Fan jumped in without encountering any danger. The view ahead was not pitch black. On the contrary, the space inside held another world. The candles on the stone walls quietly illuminated an endlessly vast space. All kinds of strange war weapons came into view. There were ultra-large long-range crossbows 10 zhang long. There were giant iron balls covered with human-high spikes. There were bronze war chariots filled with blades. They were quietly displayed, as if silently telling the story of an ancient war that had lasted a whole 60 years. Those candle flames? Jiang Fan immediately noticed something unusual. The flames around the space didn't flicker or move at all. They were like they were painted on. Even the dust in the air was frozen in the light, as if it were embedded. The evil spirit extended its consciousness, exclaiming in awe, "It is indeed the work of the sages, to be able to freeze time in a space for so long. It's hard to imagine how powerful the ancient giants must have been for these sages to spend a whole 60 years to defeat them. And even then, it was a bitter victory." Jiang Fan suddenly understood. So this place was frozen in time. What kind of sky-reaching abilities must those sages possess to perform such a feat? Looking at the war weapons all around, his eyes gleamed. If we take these war weapons back, wouldn't it be easy to destroy the dead corpse army? It would even be easy to crush the demon race through the time stasis. He could feel the world-destroying power emanating from these war weapons. Any one of them, if released, would probably have power no less than nascent soul level. After all, these were used to deal with ancient giants. The power of ancient giants could be glimpsed through just one sentence. Nascent souls were merely their food. To deal with such beings, at least nascent soul-level attacks were needed to harm them. If only it were that easy. The evil spirit sighed complexly. These war weapons were all created by the top forging masters of all races, with top-grade materials. Each one is above the spiritual artifact level. If I could have used them back then, I wouldn't have lost my life for a mere low-grade spiritual artifact. Seeing Jiang Fan lost in thought, the evil spirit sighed slightly. A black mist emanated from the black mirror, weaving into a chain and extending forward. The space 3 zhang ahead fluctuated, as if the chain had touched some invisible barrier, but it didn't hinder the chain from advancing. Soon, the chain wrapped around a towering bronze war chariot. Jiang Fan's breathing became rapid. A war weapon of spiritual artifact level obtained so easily. However, as the bronze war chariot passed through the invisible barrier, the part that had passed through mysteriously turned into rust, and the part still on the other side of the barrier remained as new as ever. As the chain continued to pull it out, an ancient bronze war chariot slowly turned into a pile of rust before Jiang Fan's eyes. "Do you understand?" The evil spirit let out a long sigh. Jiang Fan was stunned and said, "Is it because of time?" The evil spirit nodded. The chain turned into mist and returned to the black mirror. Time is the enemy of all. No one can escape it and nothing can evade it. These ancient war weapons, while preserved perfectly under the time stasis, can only remain intact within the frozen time area. Once exposed to the present world, the missing millennia will instantly catch up. Jiang Fan felt both shocked and reasonable. If time stasis could grant eternal life, then why would those sages fall in the long river of history? Even divine skill masters couldn't escape time. How could mere war weapons avoid its erosion? However, Jiang Fan suddenly realized a problem. He looked suspicious. "Have you been here before?" The evil spirit seemed familiar with the scene before his eyes. "Ha ha," the evil spirit laughed. "No, I have only been to other similar places." Jiang Fan was surprised. "Are you saying there are other spaces storing war weapons?" The evil spirit said meaningfully. "Boy, do you think this Great Wall was the main battleground of the all races and the ancient giants? This place back then was just an insignificant corner in a vast war. Judging by the intact condition of the Great Wall, not even a proper battle had taken place here. What? A Great Wall stretching for thousands of miles. a giant object spanning between the nine-sect land and the demon race. Wasn't even a main battleground. The evil spirit spoke earnestly. Boy, make haste to cultivate. The world is larger than you imagine. The heavens and earth are more vast than what you know and see. With your talent, you shouldn't be confined to this place. Jiang Fan took a deep breath. Such a brief speech stirred waves in his heart. He nodded. Thank you for the advice, senior. This was the first time Jiang Fan regarded him as a senior. Previously, he only saw him as an evil spirit. The evil spirit was slightly surprised. Recovered so soon? Not bad temperament. Temperament was one thing. More importantly, having been threatened by the Void Ancient Clan, he knew how vast the world was. Jiang Fan looked at the cave mansion frozen in time ahead, feeling troubled. So even if there is wood inside, it will turn to dust when exposed to time. He was somewhat confused. Why was the evil spirit so confident that there would be war equipment here? Are you sure the 1,000-year-old wood will turn to dust? The evil spirit said with a half-smile. Fan paused, then he suddenly realized something and couldn't help but slap his own forehead. I assumed too early. Dry for 1,000 years, wet for 10,000 years, neither dry nor wet, only half a year. The air in the snowfield is dry. Once these woods are taken out, they will instantly endure the drying of 1,000 years and only become drier. They won't rot, thinking this in his heart. His gaze wandered and saw a pile of wood in the distance. He cast out the heavenly mountain silk to drag a piece of wood out. In an instant, 1,000 years descended upon the wood. The wood, thick as a man, shrank by a circle. At the same time, large and small cracks appeared on the surface. With a twist of his hands, the wood shattered into pieces like paper. The wood, which had endured 1,000 years of drying, didn't rot but became more flammable and was incredibly light, making it more convenient to use on the battlefield. This time, fuel was found, looking at the invisible barrier not far away. Jiang Fan pondered. He wondered if people could safely enter. He took out a chunk of clam meat, wrapped it with the heavenly mountain silk, and threw it to the other side of the barrier. After waiting for a while, he dragged it back and found the meat fresh as ever. There was no change despite the different time states of the two places. You are as cautious as ever. The evil spirit showed appreciation. Go in without worries. If the static time were dangerous, how could future generations retrieve wartime supplies? This made sense. Still, Jiang Fan carefully extended a finger first, attempting to see if he could freely retract it. Once certain there was no danger, he slowly moved in and out bit by bit. Only after fully confirming there were no hidden dangers did he enter, looking at the endless array of war weapons. He felt regret. What a pity! So many good things all can't be taken away. Suddenly, he discovered next to the giant crossbow chariot, there was a box full of neatly arranged folding fans. He picked up one and unfolded it. The folding fan emitted a terrifying wave of spiritual power. Vaguely, a layer of flame spread over the fan. The evil spirit lamented. It's the Phoenix Feather 9 Flames fan, a top-grade spiritual artifact. It used to be a weapon for killing ancient giants once deployed. It could ignite a city. Its power is immense. Because the artifact refining master who crafted it perished in the ancient war, the refining diagram was inexplicably lost. As a result, it was lost forever. Unexpectedly, this hidden space stored such a big box of unused ones. A pity, such a pity. Back then, a broken Phoenix Feather 9 Flames fan caused two nascent Soul Realm seniors to fight fiercely. If a complete one appeared, the scene would be unimaginable. Jiang Fan felt distressed too. The space in front of him was like a peerless treasure trove, but like a mirage. He could see it but not touch it, unable to take anything away. Unwilling to give up, he grabbed a bunch and threw it into the heavenly thunder stone. He couldn't leave empty-handed. Even if they turned to ash after going out, it wouldn't be a wasted trip. While picking up, Jiang Fan found a crumpled scroll at the bottom of the box. It seemed to be accidentally packed along with the fans in a hurry. He opened it and was taken aback. The Phoenix Feather 9 Flames fan refining diagram. Could this be the lost refining diagram you mentioned? The evil spirit extended its divine sense. Upon seeing it, exclaimed like seeing a ghost. What? The lost refining diagram is actually here. It extended 2 strands of mist, turning into hands to hold the scroll carefully, observing it thoroughly. Excited. Yes. Yes, the rare materials, the complex crafting process, it can only be the genuine diagram. It seems the artifact refining master or their disciple accidentally mixed the diagram while splitting the crafted Phoenix Feather 9 Flames fans. This box of supplies was never used, the war ended. Unnoticed, it was stranded in this hidden space. The evil spirit was overjoyed. Boy, we didn't come here for nothing. This refining diagram, if I sell it outside, exchanging for a panacea to enhance nascent soul realm or heaven and earth spiritual objects is more than enough. For you, exchanging for a divine potion to break through nascent soul realm is also no difficulty. So precious. Jiang Fan quickly took out paper and pen, copying it on the spot. If fate permitted in the future, this diagram might be incredibly useful, just as he finished copying. Suddenly, Jiang Fan's arm was enveloped in a faint layer of silver light. Flickering spatial waves slowly appeared. The evil spirit immediately cautioned, "Move quickly. Someone tampered with you," Jiang Fan realized almost simultaneously. Without a word, he shattered his sleeve, flinging away the silver light. But it was too late. The silver light expanded with a ripping sound, space flickered. Wu Manyu's enchanting figure emerged as fast as lightning, snatching the Phoenix Feather Nine Flames fan refining diagram from Jiang Fan's hand. She then retreated, holding the scroll with a smug look. Ha ha ha! Surprised, happy. Wu Manyu wiped off the remaining silver light from her chest. She bit her red lips, displaying a teasing look. Junior brother, did you enjoy the comfort of senior sister's chest? Jiang Fan recalled. At departure, Wu Manyu deliberately held his arm, her chest rubbing against him. He thought it was a tease. Turns out it was a deliberate trick, to seize the treasure at the critical moment. Jiang Fan chuckled angrily. You really are something, scheming against me from the start. Wu Manyu, like a fox that stole a chicken, laughed charmingly. I'm Wu like the Grand Witch. Little brother, you're too naive to play with senior sister, with a playful smile. She leisurely unfolded the scroll. With one glance, her pupils shrank to pinpoints, exclaiming, a top-grade spiritual artifacts refining diagram. Her ample chest heaved as she spoke incoherently in excitement. Struck rich, immensely rich. Jiang Fan, you are truly senior sister's lucky star. The earlier losses, compared to the diagram, were negligible. Jiang Fan said plainly, you take your time looking. Since he had copied it, the original diagram held no more value. Filled with curiosity, he continued to explore the space. Wu Manyu quickly stored the scroll in her bosom. Then looking around at the war weapons exuding destructive aura, she exclaimed in delight, so many good things. Jiang Fan, you're not taking any? After a pause, she realized something, with a meaningful smile. What a pity. Without a space storage device, you can't take these large weapons. Oh, Jiang Fan turned his head, eyes glinting. Judging by your tone, it seems you have one. Wu Manyu chuckled. She waved at a bronze war chariot, and it disappeared into thin air. A space storage device? Jiang Fan was astonished. You truly are unfathomable. He knew Wu Manyu possessed many treasures, but never expected she even had a space storage device. This woman's fortune was incredibly deep. Wu Manyu didn't hide her pride. Ha ha ha, no matter how good the space storage device is, without you bringing me here, it couldn't hold so many good things. While mocking Jiang Fan, she happily collected several more war weapons. Only after collecting 10 did she stop because she couldn't fit any more. Regretfully, she sighed. The rest will have to be left for others. Wu Manyu sighed regretfully. Jiang Fan smiled meaningfully. Congratulations, senior sister Wu, for your bountiful harvest. You continue, junior brother will take his leave. Manyu circled around. Besides strategic materials, there was nothing else. It was time to notify everyone to come and move the wood. The wood stored here was enough for 10 years of war. It was completely sufficient to deal with the undead army. Wu Manyu still wanted to see if there was anything good. Seeing Jiang Fan leave, afraid he might do something at the entrance and trap her inside. She could only stomp her foot and hurriedly follow him out. The two of them returned to the city wall. The cold wind blew. Her burgundy dress clung tightly to her body, revealing those alluring curves clearly. One could even faintly see the silk patterns on her undergarment. Jiang Fan unintentionally took a glance and then quickly looked away. Wu Manyu gave a cunning smile. Not only did she not avoid suspicion, she even boldly spun around. If you want to look, just look. You've helped your senior sister a great deal. Feel free to look. Jiang Fan said with no expression. Don't waste time. Hurry back and report. Wait a moment. Wu Manyu's eyes gleamed and she delicately approached, resting her long jade arm on Jiang Fan's shoulder. Jiang Fan quickly avoided it, saying, Don't come near. We're heading to a battlefield next, not a treasure trove. He was quite curious about all of Wu Manyu's spatial techniques. Jade people, silver light, mysterious and unpredictable methods. It was right to stay away from this seductive woman. Wu Manyu giggled. Don't worry, senior sister won't harm you. I just want to ask you for a favor. Jiang Fan instantly understood and smiled knowingly. You want me to keep quiet about the space storage device? Wu Manyu felt slightly troubled. She had to bring out large items just now, had no choice but to reveal the space storage device in front of Jiang Fan. But such a thing was not something a disciple should have. Spreading the news would bring her a lot of trouble. She could only negotiate with Jiang Fan, hoping he'd keep the secret. However, considering Jiang Fan's slick nature, it wasn't realistic to expect him to keep the secret without some cost. She bit her red lips slightly and said, I'll give you 2 war weapons. In return, you keep the secret. How about that? Jiang Fan folded his hands in his sleeves and smiled. If I wanted them, I'd go in and take them myself. Here's a better deal, senior sister. I'm very interested in the jade person you used earlier. Give me one, and I'll forget about today's matter, never to mention it. What? Wu Manyu angrily said, You're taking advantage of the situation. Do you have any idea how precious that thing is? Space magic treasure, and a life-saving one at that. It wasn't something that could be bought with any number of crystal stones. Jiang Fan said, Then I can't guarantee that I won't let it slip out someday. Seeing his shameless demeanor, Wu Manyu was both angry and helpless. She wished she could overpower this annoying guy. After much contemplation, she gritted her teeth and said, Fine, I agree. But you must keep it a secret or I'll never forgive you, if it were any other time. Even if the space storage device was really exposed, she wouldn't usually bow to such coercion. Because this kind of coercion often escalates, becoming an endless nuisance. She'd rather fight it head-on from the start. But today was different. Her space storage device contained 10 war weapons, items of immense value. She couldn't bear to expose them, so she swallowed her anger and made a deal with Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan smiled. Fair enough. As long as you don't tamper with the jade person, I'll naturally keep the secret. And this matter ends here, no further demands. Wu Manyu huffed. It better be like that. Immediately, she took out a jade person from her chest. She wiped off the 3 words, Wu Manyu, and removed the essence blood from it with spiritual power. A clean and fresh jade person was tossed into Jiang Fan's arms. Drop a drop of your own essence blood and write your name with your heart blood. Before using, activate it with spiritual power. Within a 20 zhang range, you can swap places with the jade person to avoid imminent danger. But if it's a danger so sudden like before, the jade person will explode in your place as a substitute. Any questions? Jiang Fan recalled the scene of the jade person exploding. He suddenly understood. So this jade person not only allowed for position swapping, it also served as a decoy to take a fatal blow at the moment of life and death. Even more useful than he had imagined. Thank you, senior sister. Jiang Fan delightedly accepted. Immediately he dropped his own essence blood and inscribed his name with blood. Then he carefully stored it in his sleeve. Wu Manyu watched with pain in her heart. A rare life-saving magical treasure just given to this little rascal so easily. However, touching the space storage device in her hand, she felt balanced again. There's always a gain and a loss. Losing 1 jade person in exchange for war weapons worth 100 times more, I still made a huge profit. Thinking of this, her face lit up with a smile. Go quickly and inform them to move the materials. I'll stay here and guard. Jiang Fan nodded. He couldn't wait to leave. Any later and Wu Manyu would realize something was wrong. So, he pulled that piece of wood out of the black hole, shouldered it, and ran. Watching Jiang Fan go off into the distance, Wu Manyu stretched happily with a long yawn. This trip to the battlefield was not in vain. No need to care about the merit list. With so many war weapons, who cares about a little merit? Thinking of this, she looked at the space storage device with joy again, to see her treasures. However, after one glance, her expression suddenly froze. The space storage device that should have been full to the brim was empty. Only a pile of copper rust, iron rust, and various powders remained. The war weapons were nowhere to be seen. The precious blueprints were also gone. Where are the things? Wu Manyu was bewildered, suspecting she was seeing things. A second glance yielded the same result. Did the space storage device malfunction and destroy them? Wu Manyu preferred to doubt herself rather than think the war weapons and blueprints had issues. Luckily, there are more inside. Wu Manyu quickly jumped into the black hole. After loading 10 more war weapons, she swept them into the space storage device, and they were intact. She let out a sigh of relief, feeling at ease again. I almost got scared to death. Thank goodness there are plenty of war weapons here. Wu Manyu breathed a long sigh of relief, stride forward, as she crossed the invisible barrier. Her sharp eyes noticed a pile of copper rust on the ground, just like the ones from her space storage device. She felt a deep sense of foreboding. checked the space storage device again. The war weapons that had just been fine had turned into copper rust and iron rust. She looked at the copper rust on the ground once more. Her heart skipped a beat. Quickly, she went back and pushed a war chariot over. As soon as it crossed the invisible barrier, it turned into copper rust. With a thud, Wu Manyu sat down on the ground. She understood now. The items here couldn't exist outside. Otherwise, they would decay for sure. This was why Jiang Fan wasn't interested in these items at all here. Also why he didn't keep the scroll but rather copied it by hand. Because he had already discovered the items here couldn't be taken out. But Wu Manyu had smugly thought she had found an incredible opportunity. She was in the dark like a fool being extorted of a jade person by Jiang Fan, realizing the truth. Wu Manyu was infuriated. She let out a hysterical scream. Jiang Fan, Jiang Fan, Jiang Fan. In the end, the anger burned her heart. She spat out a mouthful of blood mist. Immediately after, her vision went black and she fainted on the ground. Shadow when she woke up again. She found herself lying on the back of a spirit beast with 2 female disciples from the 9 sect taking care of her. She abruptly sat up, like a tiger ready to eat someone. Where is Jiang Fan? Where is Jiang Fan? One of the female disciples was frightened by her appearance and said weakly, Junior brother Jiang is on Boundary Mountain preparing to face the dead corpse army. She made a move to get up, only to discover her hands and feet were chained to the back of the spirit beast. What is the meaning of this? Wu Manyu exclaimed. Have I become a prisoner? The other female disciple responded nervously. Senior sister Wu, junior brother Jiang is doing it for your own good. He said you were constantly being chased by the demon priest, and you got injured while looking for battle supplies. You've been through too much. You must be sent back to Sunset City to recuperate. You cannot be allowed to continue taking risks on Boundary Mountain. Send me back to Sunset City, afraid that I'll go fight him to death, isn't it? Wu Manyu, gnashing her teeth in anger, shook the chains. Tying me up is also for my own good. The 2 female disciples nodded. Yes, junior brother Jiang said you're impulsive and would definitely return to Boundary Mountain despite advice. So we could only tie you up and take you back. For my good. Wu Manyu wished she could smack Jiang Fan to death. She laughed angrily. He doesn't let me go back, so I must return. Mere chains think they can hold me? Dream on. When had Wu Manyu ever suffered such a great loss? And to suffer loss repeatedly, if she didn't avenge this, she swore not to be human. But as soon as she struggled, a wisp of poisonous smoke wafted over. She took a sniff, and her eyes immediately rolled back as she fainted. In her ears, she heard the apologetic voice of a female disciple. I'm sorry, Miss Wu. Junior brother Jiang said if you didn't obey, we should poison you until you faint. Really sorry, really sorry. As Wu Manyu fainted, she tightly clenched her fist. Jiang Fan, you have the guts. On Boundary Mountain. Jiang Fan glanced at the receding spirit beast. Those 2 disciples were sent by Lei Zhenhai to Sunset City to call for reinforcements. By the way, they also took Wu Manyu back. Keeping her here meant Jiang Fan had to constantly guard against this woman's revenge. Lei Zhenhai and the elders were also worried that she might fall here, making it hard to explain to the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. So as soon as Jiang Fan suggested sending her to Sunset City, Lei Zhenhai and the elders readily agreed. Sect Master Lei, may I consider the bounty completed? Jiang Fan asked Lei Zhenhai. Lei Zhenhai glanced at the mountain of wood. Wanting to refuse, he found no excuse. Reluctantly, he took out the Thunder Extension Order, advising, You can comprehend it for at most 1 month. Not a day more. Jiang Fan cupped his hands. Thank you, Sect Master Lei. He then moved aside to watch the Thunder Extension Order. Lei Zhenhai sneered secretly. Does he really think our sect's Thunder Extension Order is that easy to comprehend? To understand the Thunder Extension Order, one must first cultivate Thunder Path technique. You, an outsider, obtained it, but it's just a useless jade token. Moreover, our sect has comprehended it for so many years and only grasped a small part of turning into thunder and instantaneous movement. In 1 month, what can a novice disciple like you comprehend? Though he seemed generous, in reality, he wasn't worried that anyone could comprehend the technique within the Thunder Extension Order. Jiang Fan found a quiet corner. He carefully observed the ancient token, partially broken with thunder flickering inside. The evil spirit also curiously extended its divine sense, watching the token together. However, as soon as it explored inside, a thunder arc from the token fiercely struck it. Tusk, the evil spirit inhaled in pain, saying, Unbelievable! I can't even look at it. Only then did Jiang Fan remember. The evil spirit was an evil being, and the token contained the Thunder Path technique. How could it peek at that? You can't blame me for this, Jiang Fan said with a laugh. The evil spirit, frustrated, cursed. What a rotten token, I don't care about it anyway. Don't get too smug, boy. Without my help in comprehending, you won't understand the techniques in the Thunder Extension Order. After saying this, it angrily withdrew its divine sense. Jiang Fan laughed. So far, he hadn't encountered a technique he couldn't comprehend. He immediately focused on the Thunder Extension Order. This order didn't contain any texts. Where did the so-called techniques come from? Staring at the flickering thunder within, Jiang Fan pondered, and a wisp of thunder emerged from his palm, striking into the token. Immediately, the thunder within the token, initially calm, burst like beans in a hot pan, crackling and flashing. They intertwined into a technique, flickering and uncertain. Earth-level high technique, Heavenly Thunder 6 parts Cloud Shadow. Jiang Fan's eyes widened. This was actually an Earth-level high technique. As he examined it further, Jiang Fan was even more astonished. When all 6 parts combine, the power equals a heaven-level technique. Gasp. Jiang Fan didn't even have a heaven-level technique. The only one he had was on the void ancient tree, which he could only obtain after breaking through to the nascent soul realm. The Heavenly Thunder 6 parts before him was truly astonishing. Individually, an earth-level high technique. Combined, a heaven-level one. Was this a technique from the 10,000 Tribulations Holy Temple? Initially, he only wanted to learn another Thunder Path body method. Unexpectedly, he stumbled upon such a terrifying skill. He eagerly read on, regretfully discovering Heavenly Thunder 6 parts Cloud Shadow was an incomplete art, perhaps related to the token's breakdown. Currently, it had only 2 layers. Training the first layer to perfection could transform into a blue-white thunder shadow, reaching 100 feet in a blink. Training the second layer to perfection could ride the purple heaven thunder, roaring within 1,000 feet range. The missing third layer was even more astounding, capable of seizing the 9 heavens' thunder as a dragon, instantaneously moving to any visible location. Jiang Fan was secretly astonished. Instantaneous movement to the visual range's extreme edge, what a concept! Even a nascent soul great cultivator flying in the sky would take a while to reach the visual limit. Regrettably, the third layer was missing. Even so, the first and second layers were already incredible. If he had trained the first layer when chased by the demon priest, how could the opponent have caught up with him? A few lightning-quick movements, and he would have disappeared without a trace. Memorizing the technique content, Jiang Fan sat cross-legged and began to comprehend. An hour later, he had an epiphany and immediately started practicing. At this moment, the dead corpse army was rapidly approaching. On Boundary Mountain, the tremors were getting progressively stronger. Time was running out. He would train to whatever level he could. An hour later, Boundary Mountain trembled violently as if in an earthquake. The ice and snow on the slopes couldn't bear the weight, causing a massive avalanche. Jiang Fan was forced to interrupt his practice. In just an hour, he barely grasped a little, roughly able to transform into thunder, instantly reaching 50 feet away, catching the enemy by surprise. But he couldn't use it multiple times, as using this skill consumed an immense amount of thunder power. Jiang Fan's thunder power stored in his meridians was enough for just one move, unless he could train Heavenly Abyss Heart, another part of the Heavenly Thunder 6 parts. It was a technique specifically for absorbing heavenly thunder. After training, one could store endless thunder power within the body for regular use. Now there was no time to think about it. Rumble, a heavy thunderous sound echoed. Jiang Fan's expression changed as he looked into the distance. The surging tide-like flood had already reached the foot of Boundary Mountain. He took a deep breath. The great battle, it was finally coming. Lei Zhenhai's loud voice echoed throughout the entire area at that moment. Elders and disciples of each sect form your respective groups. The True Thunder Sect, Supreme Sect, Myriad Sword Sect, and Giant Sect, the 4 sects will guard Boundary Mountain. The Heavenly Sound Sect and Desire Sect guard the left flank of Boundary Mountain. The 1,000 Refinement Sect and Spirit Beast Sect guard the right flank of Boundary Mountain. The Green Cloud Sect will stay at the rear, ready to respond at any moment. The main assault of the dead corpse army was directed toward Boundary Mountain, but it could not be ruled out that some demon beasts, skilled in climbing or even flying, might cross the Great Wall from other areas. Therefore, personnel had to guard both the left and right flanks of Boundary Mountain. Moreover, some fighting strength needed to be preserved. in case one of the sects could not hold its position and needed immediate reinforcement. Green Cloud sects' elders and disciples generally had weaker combat abilities. Thus, it was most suitable for them to act as the backup force. After a brief analysis, the elders of the various sects accepted the arrangement, gathering their respective disciples and preparing for battle. Jiang Fan nodded slightly. Although Lei Zhenhai was detestable, Yi Kangyuan had sent him to the front lines to command not only because of some personal relationships. Lei Zhenhai's ability to deploy troops was also beyond question. Gazing at the vast army of the undead, Jiang Fan felt a tightness in his chest. This battle's outcome of life and death was uncertain. "Martial uncle!" Suddenly, Xia Caoj rushed out from the chaotic crowd. She hurriedly untied the sachet from her waist. "Please take this, martial uncle. In a critical moment, opening this sachet can save your life." Jiang Fan was momentarily stunned but resolutely refused, saying, "You are on the main battlefield and need life-saving items more. How can you give it to me?" As a disciple of the Supreme Sect, one of the upper three sects, Xia Caoj was bound to face the main force of the dead corpse army. On the other hand, Jiang Fan was stationed at the rear. Who needed this item more was quite evident, wasn't it? But Xia Caoj firmly placed the sachet into Jiang Fan's arms, her eyes clear and determined. "Martial uncle, you have helped me so much, and I have never had the chance to repay you. In this battle, the chance of death is high. If I don't repay you now, I may have to wait for my next life. Take this, martial uncle, so I can fight without distractions." Jiang Fan immediately felt the weight in his arms. He stopped resisting. With a swift motion, he took out 2 replenishing spirit pills and 2 revitalizing pills. "Then you should take these as well." Xia Caoj's eyes lit up. Both were considered divine objects on the battlefield. The former could replenish 80% of her spiritual power. With the latter, even a lingering breath could save her life. Facing a life-and-death battle, she did not refuse, accepting them with a smile. "Thank you, martial uncle." Furthermore, Jiang Fan then took out the necklace of the demon priest, pulling off a crystal from it. Solemnly placing it into her palm, he said, "In times of danger, crush this. This item can protect you momentarily." When the demon priest faced assassination by the purple sword, it was this crystal that temporarily strengthened their body, saving them from being killed. It was also considered a life-saving item. "It's a woman's thing." Xia Caoj took it and sniffed the lingering fragrance, showing a puzzled expression. Jiang Fan laughed. "It's from the demon priest. If you don't like it, you can give it back." Xia Caoj quickly gripped it in her palm, withdrawing it with a mischievous wink. "Since martial uncle gives it, why wouldn't I accept?" At this moment, Lu Ziyunyan's urging voice came from afar. Xia Caoj's expression tightened. She looked deeply at Jiang Fan, cupping her hands, saying, "Martial uncle, please take care." Jiang Fan, too, looked solemn and said, "You as well." "Take care." The two exchanged serious looks before parting their ways. 200 human clan members against the innumerable hordes of the dead corpse army. Who could guarantee their survival until the end? Shortly after, Jiang Fan found Liang Feiyan, Aoyang Jun, Zai Liushu, and Yi Liangxing. He distributed 2 replenishing spirit pills and 2 revitalizing pills to each. They had known each other for some time. Jiang Fan did not want to hear their tragic news. He wanted to help as much as he could. "Junior brother Jiang." When Jiang Fan was about to bid them farewell, Fu Keohun called out with a complex expression. Looking at the elixirs in their hands, he hesitated when he looked at Jiang Fan, showing a glimmer of hesitation. "Junior brother Jiang, could you spare a revitalizing pill for me too? I am willing to trade something for it." He began rummaging through his belongings, trying to find something of value. But what could be more valuable than a revitalizing pill? 2 months ago, the revitalizing pill had already become a divine object in Sunset City. The Myriad Sword sect had 2, and even the sect powerhouses couldn't exchange anything for them. Not to mention a disciple like Fu Keohun. Seeing his uneasy expression, Jiang Fan waved his hand to stop him, saying, "No need. I will simply give you one." Taking out a revitalizing pill, he tossed it to him. Fu Keohun hurriedly caught it, looking even more conflicted. His relationship with Jiang Fan had not been amicable. He thought Jiang Fan would never exchange it. Even if he swallowed his pride, he would make a fool of himself. But Jiang Fan did not ask for anything in return. He gave it for free. This made Fu Keohun feel a complex mixture of emotions, showing a look of shame. "Junior brother, previously it was all my fault. Please don't hold it against me." Jiang Fan smiled lightly. "Haven't we already moved past that? Senior brother Fu, take care. Survive." The two exchanged a look. The grudges of the past were resolved in that moment. Fu Keohun's eyes slightly reddened, saying, "You too, junior brother. Take care." The booming sound drowned out his final words. Jiang Fan immediately returned to the Green Cloud Sects formation. Li Qingfeng, Zhao Wuji, and Wen Hongyao stood at a high vantage point with a dozen disciples, their expressions solemn. Overlooking the entire scene, Li Qingfeng looked around at the disciples and sternly said, "When our Green Cloud sect is summoned, I, as the elder, will be the first to step up. If I die, Elder Zhao will succeed. If Elder Zhao dies too, Elder Wen will follow. If all three of us elders fall, the senior disciples will lead the juniors into battle. If the senior disciples fall, the senior sisters will lead the juniors into battle. If only one person remains, you must grip your saber tightly, hold your sword firmly, and strike the enemy. We, the people of Green Cloud Sect, may be weaker in strength, but our spirit must never be feeble." Their tragic and impassioned words, amid the thunderous roars of the demon beasts, echoed like a resounding bell in every disciple's heart. They understood. If the time came for the Green Cloud Sect to enter the fray, at least one sect's elders and disciples would have already fallen. The situation would be at its most critical point. If they didn't step up, the human clan would inevitably suffer defeat. Therefore, they had to fight. They had to block the demon beasts at all costs, to seize the last glimmer of hope in this great war. Jiang Fan carried a solemn expression. He stepped out from among the disciples, taking out bottle after bottle of replenishing spirit pills and revitalizing pills. "Senior brothers and senior sisters, although I have only been in the sect for half a year, I have received your care. Today, we face catastrophes together, sharing life and death. I have nothing else to offer, so I give each of you 2 replenishing spirit pills and 2 revitalizing pills. I hope we can win this battle. I also hope that after the victory, we can see each other again." Upon hearing this, under the crowd's moved gazes, he handed out the renowned divine objects, the revitalizing pills, and the equally precious replenishing spirit pills to them. Li Qingfeng was moved, saying, "Jiang Fan, you don't have to do this. This is something us 3 elders should have done." Pre-battle rewards were meant to be given as motivation by the elders. Jiang Fan, however, did it for them. "You honor me too much, 3 elders. In this battle, we live or die together. Why distinguish between us? I only hope my small effort can contribute to our victory. I also hope more of us can survive. 3 elders, please take 2 each as well." Jiang Fan distributed 2 replenishing spirit pills and 2 revitalizing pills to the 3 elders. After all the distribution, the 100 replenishing spirit pills and revitalizing pills he had crafted were almost depleted. Only less than 10 were left. He hoped these items would be effective. Boom! At that moment, Boundary Mountain shook violently. 100 colossal barbaric elephants, each 50 zhang tall, marched in formation and fiercely crashed into Boundary Mountain. For a moment the ground shook and the mountains rumbled. The great battle had begun. Everyone looked towards the foot of the mountain. The dead corpses of demon beasts rotting all over their bodies like black tides, from the foot of the Boundary Mountain extending to the ends of the earth. At this moment, the evening sun set. The last rays of light in the world lingered faintly within the clouds, making the world alternately dark and briefly bright, like a dying ember in the wind, struggling, striving to send the last bit of blessing to the people on Boundary Mountain. Finally, the afterglow faded away. The earth plunged into endless, infinite darkness. Approaching were corpses of demon beasts like mountains marching in a grand procession. Even though Jiang Fan had already brought back a living dead corpse, they were already mentally prepared for the dead corpse army. However, when they saw the endless dead corpse army up close, grotesque, rotting all over, yet marching towards them in the darkness, they couldn't help but feel a chill in their hearts. Fear, like a beast appearing at night, pounced on them from the darkness. Rumble, the Boundary Mountain shook again, triggered a massive avalanche. Everyone looked up. It was 100 barbaric elephants, lined up in formation, ramming the Boundary Mountain again with their massive bodies. Their skeletons had become brittle from years of decay. After the previous collision, most of them had already cracked. A few heads were already smashed. Yet they still retreated 100 feet, then launched another assault, relentlessly crashing into the Boundary Mountain. Their strange actions puzzled the people on the mountain peak. Li Qingfeng and Lu Ziyunian, who had long guarded this place, watched the avalanche triggered on Boundary Mountain. After a brief thought, they suddenly realized their intent. "Stop them quickly," Li Qingfeng shouted. "They are trying to break the ice and snow on the Boundary Mountain, exposing the rocky slopes to make it easier for the dead corpse army to climb." The boundary mountain had endured thousands of years of wind and frost. The surface had long since solidified into a smooth ice layer. Previously, only apes, spiders, and other climbing proficient demon beasts could easily leap up the boundary mountain. For the rest of the demon beasts, it was quite laborious. The current Dead Corpse army were all deceased demon beasts. In terms of agility, they were far inferior to when they were alive. Therefore, to ascend the boundary mountain, the smooth ice layer was the first problem they needed to overcome. The demon race priest was evidently a competent commander, had already made arrangements, deploying 100 barbaric elephants to first shatter the ice layer at the cost of their bodies. In this way, the originally rugged rocky slopes would be exposed, allowing the Dead Corpse army to climb more easily. Lei Zhenhai's eyes gleamed, resolutely said, "Kill them." He was the first to take action. Taking out a charred piece of wood, it was indeed thunderstruck wood, containing the remnant power of thunder and lightning from when heavenly tribulation struck the wood. "Go!" He operated his cultivation technique, drawing out the lightning from the thunderstruck wood and directed it at one barbaric elephant. Sizzle, the lightning instantly erupted, turning into a purple lightning bolt as thick as a finger, piercing through the air, striking one of the barbaric elephants. In an instant, a large amount of death energy steamed from the barbaric elephant's body, with the dispersal of the death energy. The barbaric elephant fell heavily without even a scream, crushing another nearby barbaric elephant along with it. Elders from various sects took out fire talismans one after another, some directly using flame techniques. Together they attacked the 100 barbaric elephants, just as Jiang Fan had mentioned earlier. These dead corpses were evil beings, extremely afraid of things imbued with yang energy. When the flames fell on them, they immediately scorched the death energy from their bodies. The ignited barbaric elephants, in panic, squeezed towards the side, igniting nearby barbaric elephants as well. The 20 or so flames shot out ended up igniting over 30 barbaric elephants, the firelight soaring to the sky. Not only illuminated the battlefield, but also the eyes of the people on the mountain peak. The dead corpses were not invincible. The disciples from various sects were greatly encouraged. One after another, they ignited their prepared torches, throwing them toward the foot of the boundary mountain. Most lacked the strength, unable to throw them over 100 feet, falling on the slopes either near or far. A few with sufficient strength managed to throw them into the midst of the barbaric elephants, successfully igniting one. But this didn't deter the disciples from continuing their attempts at throwing. Thanks to Jiang Fan, they had more wood than they could count. They couldn't possibly run out. Thus, torch after torch like a meteor shower drew arcs of varying lengths across the night sky, and the 100 barbaric elephants charging at Boundary Mountain eventually couldn't withstand the saturated torch attack. As they launched their fifth assault on Boundary Mountain, most of the barbaric elephants had already been ignited, fell one after another on the ground. The remaining few dozen shattered beyond recognition from colliding with the Boundary Mountain, unable to exert any effective impact on the Boundary Mountain. In the midst of the Dead Corpse army, on the back of an inconspicuous demon beast, the demon race priest watched the dynamics of Boundary Mountain from afar, hands behind her back. Her cold and beautiful face revealed a hint of surprise. "Using flame to restrain my Dead Corpse army. Humph, that human brat's doing." This time, she led the Dead Corpse army to attack. Only the demon emperor knew. The move was sudden and swift, giving no chance for the heavenly mechanism pavilion to gather intelligence. The goal was to catch the guardians of the human clan off guard. It's hateful that the little human had captured a dead corpse puppet in advance, alerting the human clan guardians on Boundary Mountain in advance. And based on the characteristics of that dead corpse puppet, they researched some defensive measures. Otherwise, a mere 100 barbaric elephants could have easily cleared the ice layer on Boundary Mountain. Then, the Dead Corpse army would sweep upward, ending the battle quickly. "I must personally slay you." Thinking of Jiang Fan's face, the demon race priest was filled with hatred. As she watched the 100 barbaric elephants burn one after another, her eyes showed little fluctuation. Indifferent, she commanded. "Advance!" Squeak, squeak from within the Dead Corpse army. Suddenly emerged rats the size of dogs, skeletal all over. Black smoke flickered in their eyes. In incomprehensibly large numbers, over 1,000, they were very fast with unmatched agility, jumping onto the slippery slopes, quickly climbing upwards. "Kill! Don't let them get close!" Lei Zhenhai again drew a lightning bolt from the thunderstruck wood, shot it at a rapidly sprinting rat demon. With a puff, The death energy in its eyes dissipated, immediately lifeless as if losing its soul, rolling a few times and lying still on the ground. Sect elders and disciples who saw this did not hesitate. They took action one after another. Instantly, flames soared again, illuminating the entire snowy slope. Compared to the barbaric elephants, the rat demons were much weaker, immediately lost mobility after being touched by the flames. In just the time it takes to drink a cup of tea, corpses were strewn everywhere on the snowy slope, all of them rat demon corpses. Jiang Fan, panting heavily, excited filaments flashed in his eyes, he shouted, "Come on, sending a bunch of little mice, do you underestimate us?" Ha ha ha. The disciples, who had been tense all along, relaxed with excitement after achieving consecutive small victories. The dead corpse army wasn't as terrifying as imagined. Using flame to restrain them, it was no difficulty. Jiang Fan, standing at a high place overlooking the ground full of rat demon corpses, frowned. There was no reason to send such weak rat demons to their deaths. That demon race priest didn't seem foolish. Suddenly, a rat demon dead near its companions caught Jiang Fan's attention. The environment was dark earlier, didn't notice it. At this moment, Jiang Fan discovered the rat demon's abdomen was tied with a fist-sized beast skin bag, bulging unknown what was inside. With the death of the rat demon, the beast skin bag rapidly dissolved, looking at the other rat demon corpses. Without exception, all had similar beast skin bags tied to their bellies. Jiang Fan's expression changed, immediately reminding, "These rat demons all have something on their bellies. Quick, clear away their corpses." The real threat was not these rat demons themselves, but the mysterious beast skin bags on their bellies. At this moment, the group suddenly noticed something unusual about the rat demon corpses. Lei Zhenhai's face darkened. He decisively swung his sleeves, unleashing powerful gusts of wind that blew several nearby rat demon corpses down to the mountain's base. The other elders quickly joined in. Some simply harnessed their spiritual power. Others took out magic artifacts resembling palm leaf fans and summoned tornado-like gusts with one wave. The Heavenly Sound Sect's great elder worked together with the disciples, launching several sound waves in succession, forcibly pushing the rat demon corpses away. The snowy slope was slippery, with just a bit of effort from the people above. The rat demon corpses slid down, vanished, and never returned. However, before half of the corpses could be cleared, those beast skin bags began to dissolve one after another. Rivulets of mysterious black liquid corroded through the beast skin bags, dripping onto the icy surface. The ice was unable to withstand the corrosion, melting into scalding water and causing nearby sections of the ice to dissolve along with it. And similar scenes started unfolding across various parts of the snowy slope. Chunks of ice were melting away, and the chain reaction it triggered was crack under the anxious stares of the people. The icy layer of the snowy slope emitted a bone-chilling sound of rupture. The ice layer had broken, crash without any warning. The lower half of the icy surface beneath Boundary Mountain crumbled spectacularly. Like a torrential current, it cascaded downward into the mountain's base. The tremendous impact caused countless shale ice created by the collapse to form a moving ice river. It flowed all the way from mid-mountain, crushing hundreds of dead corpse puppets along its path, and forcing the army to retreat repeatedly amidst great tumult. Yet the people on Boundary Mountain couldn't afford even a hint of celebration, because the ice layer below mid-mountain on Boundary Mountain was entirely gone, exposing incredibly dense frozen soil and coarse rocky terrain. The demon beasts could climb upward as though walking on flat ground. Within the dead corpse army, the demon priest furrowed her willow leaf eyebrows. Could it be that a master has joined the ranks of the human guardians? Had someone not commanded a timely clearing of the rat demon corpses, the entire snowy slope's coating of ice and snow would have been completely wiped clean by now. Her dead corpse army would have already surged straight upward. Even with just the lower half of the slope cleared, it's enough. Even if it means piling up corpses, we'll flatten the remaining slope completely. She removed the butterfly hairpin, gently blowing into it. The sound of a resonant horn echoed like a warhammer, urging the dead corpse army forward in a flood-like charge against Boundary Mountain. The first to ascend were massive beasts, second only in size to barbaric elephants. Their gigantic bodies trampled effortlessly over dense rock and frozen soil, storming upward with alarming speed. Each step sent tremors rushing through the earth. The group that had just achieved minor victories now wore extraordinarily grim expressions. Lei Zhenhai took the lead in the assault, shouting, "Kill! Don't let them climb up. This final section of the slope is our only natural barrier. If the dead corpse army crossed this point, they'd have no choice but to engage in direct combat, which would lead to catastrophic casualties. The elders and disciples of the various sects immediately began tossing down firebrands and talismans, as well as unleashing fire series techniques, striving to annihilate the dead corpse army at the base of Boundary Mountain. But the sheer number of enemies was overwhelming. On top of that, the demon beast corpses leading the charge were enormous, emitting dense, deathly energy. Ordinary firebrands took significant time to thoroughly purify the deathly aura. As soon as they perished, their bodies became stepping stones for the dead corpse army behind them. The battle raged fiercely between both sides. The elders and disciples from the Nine Sect fought with all their might, hurling firebrands and talismans while unleashing fire attribute skills. Meanwhile, the dead corpse army charged relentlessly, unflinching in the face of pain and death, an unstoppable tide surging upward, for an entire 2-hour battle. The half-slope, spanning less than a few hundred feet, was already littered with over 2,000 dead corpse puppets of varying sizes. But scanning upward, what gave rise to a pang of despair was, the dead corpse army still stretched endlessly beyond sight. They resembled an unending flood, impossible to wipe out entirely. Even worse, dead corpse puppets had now begun piling up on the remaining icy slope. The advancing dead corpse army stepped onto the corpses to continue their upward climb. When they fell, they became the foundation for others behind them. The situation grew dire by the second. In a moment of crisis, Lei Zhenhai roared, "Rolling logs!" The elders and disciples from the various sects immediately carried out an unbroken chain of intact timber. Igniting them one after another, they hurled them down the slippery slope. The flaming logs rolled downward with searing heat, igniting swaths of dead corpse puppets along their path. And just like that, log after log, piling endlessly. The dead corpse army that had finally reached mid-mountain either burned to ashes or were knocked back by falling dead corpse puppets. The demon priest frowned deeply. Where are they getting all this wood? This is a barren snowfield for thousands of miles. At first, the humans used firebrands. She hadn't thought much of it. Perhaps Boundary Mountain had limited supplies in reserve. Yet now, amidst prolonged combat, these timber stocks showed no signs of depletion. They seemed to multiply instead. Even if Boundary Mountain was layered with timber, it should already have been exhausted by now, shouldn't it? Who's giving the commands here? Dances of war flickered behind her gaze. Then let me see. Who can outlast whom? Once Boundary Mountain falls, you'll all meet your demise. Keep charging, under her command. The dead corpse army charged Boundary Mountain once more like thunderous waves. Countless rolling logs trailed thick black smoke as they ignited one dead corpse puppet after another climbing uphill. Meanwhile, the dead corpse puppets remained fearless. They clambered over heaps of corpses, pushing upward continuously. The conflict mirrored an extended tug-of-war, both sides mutually consuming one another's strength. By midnight, the elders from various sects showed exhaustion on their faces, while the disciples, pale and trembling, with many experiencing spasms in their arms and legs. The mechanical act of tossing rolling logs, sustained tirelessly into the night, drained everyone's physical endurance. Xianxia wiped the sweat from her face. Her matchless, delicate features were smeared with soot and ash, making her look like a speckled cat. She caught her breath, lighting another rolling log before pushing it down. Liang Feiyan's hair fell loosely around her face. Her sleeves were burned clean off at some point, revealing her underarms. He kicked a burning log down the slope, ignoring how the heat melted his boots. He simply focused on lighting the next log. Everyone was lost in fatigue, yet no one could afford to stop. The few hundred feet of snowy slope had transformed into mountains of corpses piled high. No trace of snow or ice remained. The dead corpse army had advanced to within 50 feet. Several enormous dead corpse puppets could now reach the people atop Boundary Mountain. Luckily, their unending supply of rolling logs held the 50-foot boundary steady. What brought a glimmer of hope was the seemingly infinite tide of the dead corpse army after half a night of relentless slaughter finally showed signs of an end. Although there were still dense masses numbering beyond measure, if this deadlock persisted, victory was at least a possibility. The demon priest silently studied the battlefield. Watching her heavily diminished dead corpse army, a trace of fury glinted in her eyes. Where in the world could they be finding so much wood? Even in the mountain assault phase, I've already lost 40% of my dead corpse army. This is absurd, observing the humans stubbornly guarding the last 50 feet of the snowy slope. And preparing to continue the battle of attrition, she snorted coldly, "Do you think I'll let you have your way? It's time to end this." Go, with a command. Puff, 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 from within the dead corpse army, groups of head-sized dead corpse puppets started flapping their wings and took to the air. They were all demon bees, covered in lethal poison, thousands of them. They flew up, like a dark cloud silently soaring over Boundary Mountain Peak. Lei Zhenhai sensed something, his expression changed. "Be careful, flying demon beasts!" But the warning came too late. The disciples, fully focused on battling the beast tide, didn't notice at all. One of them, a male disciple from Myriad Sword Sect, holding a rolling log, suddenly let out a tragic scream. It was visible on his neck. A huge, rotten demon bee, with its tail stinger fiercely plunged into his neck. Despite being at the 9th layer of Foundation establishment, he only managed a scream before his entire body turned black. He then fell flatly. The burning log in his hands also landed on him, quickly igniting his body. "Junior brother Liu!" Liang Feiyan exclaimed in shock, rushed over and kicked the log away, extinguishing the flames on him. But upon picking him up, she saw he was already bleeding from his 7 orifices, dead. "Junior brother!" Liang Feiyan roared in grief, seeing the demon bee that stung him preparing to flee. She slashed it with a backward sword strike. But the exploding blood splattered towards her face. Whoosh! Jiang Fan arrived just in time. His robe sleeve swept up to catch all the blood. Sizzle, 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 his sleeve was corroded by the blood, forming small blood holes. "Senior brother Liang, stay calm," Jiang Fan said. Liang Feiyan's pupils shrank. She bowed with one hand to Jiang Fan, saying, "Thank you, junior brother Jiang." Her voice choked up. Her eye rims turned red. The disciple in front of her was a personal junior brother under the sect leader, a gentle and refined person. Rumor had it that his family had arranged a marriage for him, the other party being a dignified and gentle noble lady. By next spring the wedding was to be held, but he would never see that day. "You bastards!" Liang Feiyan laid him down. With reddened eyes, she angrily slashed at a demon bee attacking a female disciple from the Desire sect, not even giving me a chance to save him. Why? Jiang Fan gazed deeply at junior brother Liu. He sighed inwardly. This was war. Junior brother Liu was the first to fall, but he wouldn't be the last. He felt a burning anger inside. He drew the Sorrow Frost sword and slashed at a nearby errant demon bee. The intense ice shattered it, freezing the body and blood splatter to avoid affecting others nearby. A similar scene played out across the entire Boundary Mountain Peak. The sudden attack of the venomous demon bees had completely disrupted their rhythm. People, in a panic, were killing the demon bees, lacking enough manpower to suppress the dead corpse armies. When Lei Zhenhai realized the severity, it was already too late. The beast tide had crossed the last 50 feet of ice. Massive bodies appeared before them. "Watch out!" Lei Zhenhai issued a deafening warning. But with the poison bees above and dead corpse puppets ahead, there was no way to defend against both. This defense line looked like it was about to collapse. Jiang Fan's expression changed drastically. How could the battle turn so quickly? If the line broke, they would collapse like a landslide. No, he couldn't let the beast tide through. At least they needed more time to regroup. If not, it would be all over. Seeing some dead corpse puppets stepping on the last bit of slick ice climbing up the peak, Jiang Fan's eyes brightened. But then he showed some hesitation, yet after a moment he gritted his teeth. Decisively, he took out the purple sword. "Go!" He rubbed his hands together, and the purple sword spun and flew out swiftly, but it didn't target killing the dead corpse puppets. Instead, it rapidly sliced through the ice at the junction of the peak and the slope. Sparks flew across a width of hundreds of feet. The extremely sharp purple sword cut a long crack. Then, Jiang Fan summoned the 5 magnetic Yuan mountain, allowing it to grow from the wind into a small hill. He used his soul power to lift it 10 feet into the air. Then he hurled it down onto the ice. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The noise was no less than 100 barbaric elephants hitting Boundary Mountain. A massive earthquake shook the snow slope. The top half of the severed ice patch couldn't hold on any longer. It slid from the cut, crashing down. Along with the densely packed demon beast corpses like a torrent, it fell hundreds of feet down the snowy slope, crushing everything in its path, whether it was corpses or dead corpse puppets. All were swept away by this ice and snow flow, rushing down Boundary Mountain, quickly sweeping ahead. It crushed 500 to 600 puppet corpses along the way, until it finally stopped at the feet of the demon priest. The cold ice. mixed with countless rotting corpse odors, rushed forth. The demon priest's face was frozen with cold, looking at the chaotic battlefield, looking at the cleared snow slope. The fire in her eyes couldn't be contained, blazing out. Good, good, good. So this is how you want to play? Well commanded, this priest will meet you personally. Move out. Rumble, rumble. The remaining 5,000 dead corpse army surged towards Boundary Mountain with no further obstacles. The slick ice was gone. The rolling logs could no longer roll down smoothly. Halfway through, they would get stuck, after sacrificing half of the dead corpse army. The demon priest finally faced the human clan guarding Boundary Mountain directly. By now, the people had finally cleared the demon bees. So far, only Liu Wanfeng of Myriad Sword Sect had fallen. The rest were mostly unharmed. Dozens were injured, mostly by demon bee blood splashes while killing them. Fortunately, Wen Hongyao, skilled in medical skills, was present. She quickly treated their injuries, except for a few severe cases that couldn't immediately recover. The rest were battle-ready. Everyone sighed in relief. The situation had been too perilous just now. If the ice hadn't collapsed suddenly, taking away the dead corpse army, they would have been trapped in a dire situation. The consequences would be unimaginable. Lei Zhenhai stomped on the last demon bee, turned his head to deeply look at the distant Jiang Fan. Others didn't know, but he saw it clearly. At the last moment, Jiang Fan cut through the ice, saving the battle, and the items he used. He saw them distinctly. One was a mountain that could grow larger. The other, the purple sword that the giant sect had been searching for, which killed Tai Bubai. Lei Zhenhai's eyes flickered. He subtly withdrew his gaze, looking at the dead corpse army flooding towards the foot of the mountain. No barriers remained. They surged towards the peak. Lei Zhenhai took a deep breath and said loudly, "The real tough battle begins now. All sect elders and disciples, hold your defense lines. We fight to the death." With that, he took the lead. 10 thunderstruck woods were arranged before him, each one charged with lightning. The cultivation technique of the true Thunder sect couldn't generate lightning itself. It relied on the power of external lightning. The amount of external lightning power they could harness determined their strength. He had brought those 10 thunderstruck woods specially. Annihilate? Lei Zhenhai's eyes were sharp. He saw under the cover of fire a cold-looking girl standing on a demon beast's back. He immediately guessed her identity. Demon priest! Lei Zhenhai pointed a finger. 10 bolts of lightning combined into one arm-thick bolt. It struck instantaneously, targeting the demon priest. Her expression changed, her figure blurred, disappearing in a flash. Bang, she just barely dodged. The spot where she had been standing was now surrounded by hundreds of feet of dead corpse puppets, all with their death aura dissipated, collapsing to the ground. Thunder Path, she clutched her injured right arm, though she dodged in time, but was still grazed by the lightning shockwave. Her right arm was a bloody, mangled mess. You must be the commander and that bastard's master, right? That bastard also knew Thunder Path, and had shattered her 9-headed giant python's death aura. She had heard only true Thunder Sect disciples in the 9 Sect excelled at Thunder Path. The commander before her was undoubtedly that bastard's master. Lei Zhenhai frowned slightly. He was the commander indeed, but what was this talk about being the master of that bastard? No matter what, since the demon priest has appeared, that means the duel between 2 commanders has begun. Take another hit! Lei Zhenhai drew lightning from the thunderstruck wood and struck across the Boundary Mountain. The demon priestess instinctively touched her neck, only to remember that her necklace had been stolen by that scoundrel. But she didn't panic, with a thought. The enormous dead corpse puppet beside her rose into the air and pounced on the lightning. As the thunder light flashed, the dead corpse puppet exploded into countless pieces, scattering and burning on the ground. HMPH, that's all you have, she stomped her foot. The dead corpse puppets at her feet, along with the army, charged towards the peak of Boundary Mountain. The snow-covered and rocky slope could no longer hinder her, carrying the demon priestess, easily climbing to the mountainside. The forefront of the dead corpse army had reached the edge of the peak. Lei Zhenhai shouted in a deep voice, "Hold the Boundary Mountain!" He himself absorbed a large amount of thunder power, attacking the demon priestess. The demon priestess thought again. Several dead corpse puppets blocked the thunder power on their own. At the same time, she waved her sleeve. A mass of black necrotic chi shot into the sky, growing rapidly with the wind into a giant 10-jang-tall skull. With a chilling howl, it pounced suddenly at Lei Zhenhai. Lei Zhenhai's face changed. He drew several strands of thunder power and struck at the skull all at once. Puff, puff, The necrotic chi within the skull was exceptionally dense, and such a powerful thunder strike could not penetrate it. Boom, the skull opened its mouth, diving down to bite Lei Zhenghai fiercely. Not good. Lei Zhenghai quickly dodged away. The ground was instantly shattered into pieces by the skull's impact. The 10 thunderstruck woods he had laid out also exploded and flew away. His face changed again. The true Thunder Sect's technique relied on borrowing the power of heaven and earth's thunder to unleash its power. Thunderstruck wood was commonly used by true Thunder Sect's disciples to store thunder power. These were all the thunderstruck woods he had brought. Meanwhile, the dead corpse army had approached. The elders and disciples stationed at Boundary Mountain from the 4 Great Sects inevitably engaged in direct combat with the dead corpse puppets. The Supreme Sect faced the initial impact. Lu Ziyunian and 2 other elders stood at the forefront. Xianxia, Xianxia, Li Shiqian, and other disciples stood behind them, taking advantage of the gaps between the elders to strike down enemies. A 5th-level core formation snake demon, leading the charge, bypassed many dead corpse puppets and attacked first. Its house-sized head crashed towards Lu Ziyunian in the middle. HMPH? Lu Ziyunian's palms surged with spiritual power, combined with an earth-level technique. He unleashed a torrent of force, forming an almost tangible palm strike. Boom, the rotting head of the colossal dead serpent was immediately smashed to pieces. The residual force also swept the dead corpse puppets on both sides off their feet, creating a crescent-shaped knockdown pattern. This strike exhibited his savage 7th-level core formation strength beyond doubt. The elders on both sides and the disciples behind them were all invigorated. Whoosh! Suddenly, the air erupted with a fierce roar. The enormous serpent without its head abruptly lashed out with its several zhang long skeletal body. Lu Ziyunian and the 2 elders were caught off guard. They staggered back, crashing into several Supreme Sect disciples. "You beast!" Lu Ziyunian shouted in surprise and anger. "Crush it into powder. Let's see if it dares to move again." One elder closely followed. The other elder stood still. Droplets of blood seeped from his forehead, down past his eyes, over his nose, and finally down to his chin, forming a stream of blood, splattering between his feet. Lu Ziyunian turned his head and his eyes narrowed sharply. There was a rolling, pin-sized bloody hole in the elder's forehead, penetrating from his forehead to the back of his head. In the bloody hole, Lu Ziyunian saw the terrified and shocked faces of the disciples. From the serpent's tail strike just now, a sharp bone spike had accidentally pierced through his head. "Lin Zhen!" Lu Ziyunian's face changed dramatically. In his disbelief, Lin Zhen fell slowly onto the icy snow. His eyes opened and closed, reflecting the starless, moonless dark night sky. He hadn't lived to see the dawn, fallen before the dawn. "No!" Lu Ziyunian roared with grief and anger. His junior brother of many years, just like that, in such an unexpected fall. He was angry, grief-stricken, and mostly blamed himself. If he had not been so careless, Elder Lin would still be alive. Whoosh, the serpent's tail attacked again. Lu Ziyunian, overwhelmed with grief and anger, roared. Die, terrifying spiritual power, dominating palm power. Instantly shattered the giant serpent's tail that ambushed again into countless bone fragments. In the serpent's belly, the dimly flickering necrotic chi controlled a remaining bone spike, attempting to strike again. Crunch! A massive foot stomped down, crushing both bone and necrotic chi. Lu Ziyunian charged down the slope, his eyes bloodshot. He stared at the incoming beast tide and rushed forward. "Damn it, you all deserve to die." Xianxia, Xianxia, and Li Shiqian and other disciples' eyes were also red. Elder Lin Zhen had always been the gentlest with disciples. Even disciples from other peaks would receive his care, and he had suddenly died. Xianxia, eyes red, roared and charged up, taking Lin Zhen's place, furiously slashing at a wolf demon attempting to ambush Lu Ziyunian from the side. Xianxia and Li Shiqian then respectively filled Lu Ziyunian's spot, fighting the oncoming demon beasts in anger. This scene was not unique. The members of the 4 sects, never having fought dead corpse puppets directly before, instantly faced massive impact. These dead corpse puppets, even with their heads smashed or their bodies shattered, still retained combat ability. Inexperienced, they quickly had their defense line broken. The worst was the giant sect. Close quarters combat naturally put them at a disadvantage. Unprepared, they were suddenly charged by a missing half-bodied leopard demon into the disciples' ranks. Its sharp bone spurs like sickles injured 8 disciples. 2 of them were fatally wounded on the spot. "You beast!" by the time the elders arrived and smashed the leopard demon to pieces. Their disciples had suffered heavy losses. Over half lost their combat ability instantly. The myriad swords sect fared no better. Previously, with the control of fire, thunder, and other positive energies, they were under the illusion that dead corpse puppets were easy to handle. However, in direct combat, their troubling nature became evident. Their unfeeling attitude towards pain and death. Even with their bodies broken apart, they didn't die. In an instant, the myriad sword sect's defense line was repeatedly pushed back by several enormous dead corpse puppets. 3 disciples were injured by flying bone shards. One even had a finger cut off. Jiang Fan furiously unleashed sharp sword qi, chopping the dead corpses into pieces. But even these fragments continued attacking. What's worse, while the front was not yet cleared of dead corpse puppets, more surged from the rear. The true Thunder sect fared slightly better. Elders and disciples unleashed thunderbolts, immediately paralyzing the dead corpse puppets on the spot. But the 3 neighboring sects' lines crumbled one after another. They soon faced dead corpse puppets from the sides too, attacking them from 3 sides. The true Thunder sect couldn't hold either. An elder, in haste to save a disciple, had his heart gouged out by a bone claw. The enraged Luziunian was forced to retreat, fighting and retreating with the advancing beast tide. The situation crumbled. On the verge of being overrun, Sect Master Lei, think of something. The defense is breaking. Lei Zhenghai felt lost. He never imagined that the dead corpse army, half of which they had previously easily annihilated, just one clash, had broken the human defense line. If this continued, defeat was inevitable, and with the army pressing close, they had no chance to escape. As he was at a loss, a loud voice suddenly echoed across the battlefield. Attack their necrotic qi. That's their only weak spot. Jiang Fan stood on high, overlooking the entire scene. He took in the battle situations of the 4 great sects at a glance. The other 3 sects, even if they chopped the dead corpse puppets into powder, it was to no avail. But the true Thunder sect only needed lightning to shatter the deathly aura, and no matter how intact the dead corpse puppets' bodies were, they couldn't move on the spot. This was enough to explain. The deathly aura was the key to their movements. This was not a new discovery, whether experimenting on little demon beasts previously, or burning the dead corpse army afterwards. They could all find that once the deathly aura of these dead corpse puppets evaporated, they would lose their mobility. It was just that. In their first direct confrontation with the dead corpse army, they were too nervous. They only focused on fighting the dead corpse puppets but neglected their only vital weakness, the deathly aura. And this shout was like waking someone from a dream. In the direction of the myriad sword sect, a group of ferocious, rotting wild pigs charged forward with intimidating momentum. The 3 elders of the myriad sword sect did not immediately attack. Instead, they searched for the deathly aura within them. Although they were the same kind of dead corpse puppets, the positions of the deathly aura inside them varied. Some were in the head, some were hidden under the spine. Others were simply hidden deep within the bones. Jiang Fan also locked onto a demon pig and found a ball of deathly aura in its eye socket. She immediately rushed forward, thrusting her sword into the eye socket. The powerful sword qi instantly dispersed the deathly aura. The wild pig immediately collapsed to the ground with a thud. Jiang Fan was both excited and thrilled, shouting, "Come on, everyone come on!" Seeing this scene, everyone was invigorated. They changed their random attack strategies and specifically targeted the deathly aura. The effect was unexpectedly good. The dead corpse puppets, which had just been extremely troublesome and caused enormous casualties, with the deathly aura being eradicated one after another, fell easily. The collapsing front line was gradually closing up under the joint counterattack of the elders and disciples, seeing the hard-earned upper hand being slowly leveled out. The demon priest looked angrily at the person who had shouted. Standing on an ice pillar, the young man surveyed the battle with a steady and calm demeanor. Although young, he had an aura of composure and calmness, and when she saw his face clearly, the demon priest's eyes widened, fury gushing out. "Bastard! It's you." Even if Jiang Fan was turned to ashes, she would recognize him. Jiang Fan heard this and looked across the distance. He waved with a smile. "Long time no see, shameless demon priest," picking up the most painful topic. The demon priest was infuriated and hissed, "Don't get cocky. When we take Boundary Mountain, you'll be my first target. I'll cut out your tongue, chop off your claws, and hack off your dog head," thinking of how much she'd suffered at Jiang Fan's hands. She was practically fuming with rage. Jiang Fan looked at the gradually improving situation and smiled slightly. "Come up here and say that." The demon priest clenched her fists and roared angrily. "Fine. Fine, feeling arrogant, aren't you? Then I'll kill your master starting with some interest." Immediately, she glared coldly at Lei Zhenhai with an intense deathly aura surging beneath her robe. "Sect Master Lei, you've taught a good disciple. I've never suffered such a big loss in my life. This debt will be settled on your head first." Lei Zhenhai was stunned for a moment and said, "Are you talking about Jiang Fan? Since when was he my disciple?" The demon priest gritted her teeth and said, "Don't lie. He cultivated the thunder path. If you didn't teach him, then did the ghost sect." "You die now," roar, the yin qi under her sleeves roared. Then it transformed into dozens of demon wolves flying towards Lei Zhenhai, seeing the demon priest desperate to fight him. Lei Zhenhai was frustrated to the point of wanting to vomit blood. "Damn it, you're after the wrong person. How could I be that brat Jiang Fan's master?" But since the opponent insisted on fighting him, he had no choice but to go along with it. Instantly, he reluctantly pulled out several talismans containing powerful power of thunder and lightning. After tearing open one, a streak of lightning rushed out. Under his command, it hit the attacking pack of demon wolves, but one was clearly not enough. He reluctantly unleashed all the talismans. Streaks of thunder and lightning power struck the deathly aura-infused demon wolf pack. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The power of thunder and lightning, far stronger than thunderstruck wood, dispersed most of the deathly aura. But a few still managed to attack, striking Lei Zhenhai in the chest. An ordinary person taking this hit would have already had the deathly aura invade their body, dying instantly. But Lei Zhenhai's body was covered in thunder light, with a net of thunder emanating from his body, shattering the deathly aura. It turned out that he was also wearing soft armor imbued with thunder and lightning. This lucky break saved his life. Lei Zhenhai was both shocked and angry. "Demoness! If you want to play, then this sect master will play seriously with you." He reluctantly took out a round iron hammer. Inside, it was filled with intense thunder breath. The thunder breath was so strong that even from a distance, Demon Moon's face showed fear. Tribulation thunder, unlike the ordinary lightning from before. This iron hammer contained tribulation thunder from heaven and earth, 10 times stronger than ordinary lightning. "But it only has thunder breath left. What can it do to me?" Demon Moon said so, but still quietly commanded several dead corpse puppets to stand in front of her. Lei Zhenhai sneered, "A bit of thunder breath can't harm you. But have you not noticed the weather at this moment?" Demon Moon looked up at the night sky. The starlight had vanished. The new moon was gone. She frowned slightly, initially not understanding. Then her expression changed dramatically. You're going to summon tribulation thunder from heaven and earth." The absence of sunlight and moonlight could only mean one thing. At that moment, dark clouds covered the sky. Lei Zhenhai laughed heartily. "Clouds began to gather at sunset just now. I knew then that heaven still stands on the side of humankind. Our true thunder sect's cultivation technique is strongest during a thunderstorm. Now there are dark clouds. Just a bit of thunder breath can summon countless thunderbolts. Demoness, you're finished." Amidst his laughter, he raised his arm, preparing to throw the iron hammer into the clouds. Demon Moon's face changed dramatically. She didn't care anymore. Immediately her eyes flashed. A tangible soul dagger instantly shot out. Almost instantly. Lei Zhenhai suffered a soul attack, clutching his head and crying out in pain. The iron hammer in his hand also dropped. A nearby dead corpse puppet under Demon Moon's control pounced to seize it, but just as its claws were about to grasp the iron hammer, whoosh, a sharp sword chi flashed, accurately hitting the dead corpse puppet's deathly aura. Then, a figure flashed over, grasping the iron hammer with one steady hand. Seeing who it was, Demon Moon was instantly furious. "Jiang Fan, it's you again," she glared furiously. Her clenched fists were so tight that her nails dug deep into her flesh unknowingly. Jiang Fan squinted his eyes and said, "I was prepared for your soul attacks." Others didn't know, but he had experienced her soul attacks before. So when Lei Zhenhai threw the iron hammer, he was worried. As expected, the tribulation thunder the iron hammer could summon was too great a threat to Demon Moon's dead corpse army. So she didn't dare to continue hiding her soul attack technique. "You bastard!" Demon Moon was furious. She regretted deeply not having killed Jiang Fan earlier. If not, how could today's battle have so many twists and turns? "Save your curses for when you escape," Jiang Fan threw with force. The iron hammer, which would decide the battlefield's outcome, was thrown into the clouds above.